Good afternoon. It's Cryptomeria. Good to see you. Good to see everyone. Hope everyone is well. It's a soggy day in Victoria, British Columbia, which is good. We need the rain. Rain is good. It is a Pacific Northwest. You get winter. We don't really have winter. It's like you just sort of swim to work after a point. Yeah. So, if you're not familiar, I usually do AI artwork and a blog, sometimes back karaoke. I will try and refrain you all from that today. I've been really good about restraining myself on that, but one of these days it's going to come out. You know it is. So I'm going to pull up my blog. I really loved the animation. Just, okay, one more time. No, because I actually want to show I'm that little clip of the dragon, fire dragon today. I want to pull that one into a longer piece because I have like way more artwork, and some of it I almost think I lost from the original, but some I think it makes it more fluid. Like it makes it actually look like it's moving. And I have it so it's like coming into the house. And one of the shots, I was like, oh my God, that's not going to work. And it looks like the reflection on a glass door. And I'm just like, oh, yes, I caught it. Sometimes I win. Sometimes I win. And not always. Not always. Sometimes. Sometimes. Yeah. So I'm Cryptomeria. I'm artist out of British Columbia. Beautiful Hollywood, North Canada. Gotta love it. And today's clips, this is probably a long stream. Hopefully I cleared off enough storage and didn't delete a whole bunch of stuff. I never know sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, I'm like, did it download? Did it not download? What should I do? Oh, well, it's to the ether. What can you do? So we actually had Mr. Sunshine Baby just come live because Justin Trudeau's increasing tensions with India, which I do have some clips. Because, oh boy, they are not happy with that man in the Indian press, are they? No. Oh, no. He is like not one of India's favorite people right now. I seriously still think it was a Canadian who sabotaged that plane so he wouldn't come back. It's like, I'm just saying, like. And one of them, she like, oh, Prime Minister shouldn't have this kind of plane, but it's like, well, he has $80 million. I'm sure he could buy one if he really needed. Like, why are the taxpayers paying for him? You know? And if it was anyone else, like a regular, normal, and that's the thing, Stephen Harper, he you'd see him sometimes sitting in coach. It's like, nope, I got to get to that meeting. It's like, okay. Meanwhile, Trudeau's like, nah, I think I'll take my time. Yeah. That's what's happening. I know. And I love that dragon one. It turned out so good. And I want to keep working on it just to get it to the 2-minute mark. If I can just even get it to the 1-minute mark, that would be a big goal. But to get it to the 2-minute mark, that would be like, an Olympic gold medal win on it. And just how I did. Oh, I just thought of something like, no, because I make it look like a log house and then like a fire pit outside. Like there's fire pits inside because AI just does its own thing sometimes. it's like, trust me, I'm smarter than you. I'm like, okay, whatever, just make it fast, like eventually we'll get along. And yeah, I'll put up my website. Sorry, I cannot believe the fire dragon, because it actually looks like the dragon is like the fire goes in and out of the box. Oh God, okay, let me, before I pull it up, let me make sure it's on my website. Okay, sorry, give me a second. I'm so blonde. No, I'm going the wrong way. You figure I'd be organized, like. Come on, there we go. And I want to share the full one, but I almost don't want to like spoil it for the big reveal. Because if I can make it like a 2-minute clip, that'll be epic. It's going to be probably around 20 hours work, but it's going to be worth it. Like for what I did today, it's good because every time I do it, I learn more and I can build on it more. Like I can take everything I've made and elaborate on them. And it's, oh God, making it so many. Sometimes it's just like sitting there. It's like the world's worst video game. I'm not kidding. Okay. Beautiful. It's loading. Yes. We'll see if it all loads. Oh no, I forgot to update it. Just give me a second. Oh, I was so close. One of these days I'll get there. But I mean, most people have like whole tech teams to do half of this stuff and everything. And, I'm just little old me. But this artwork today, and thank you, Brothers Camps. I can't speak. Brothers Campfire for the inspiration. So this one is sort of, I based it around that, but I have to, of course, everyone's a critic. So as soon as I make it, I'm like, yay, this is awesome. He's like, you're missing stuff. I'm like, okay, sure. I can add more. Yes, sir. It's not like I'm just doing it for fun. And if he's watching, I'm just teasing. I am. It has been the perfect theme. And to have, like, when I get the finished, I think really do need to push myself for the 2-minute mark. Oh boy. And I think actually I have to, like, take this project, meld it all together, and then export it into another one. Well, I just don't want to, like, lose anything I've made. Like, I did that yesterday, which is why I didn't post anything, because I totally screwed up. And I just looked at it and I was like, I don't even want to show this. Like, some of it turned out. Some of it really turned out. Like the flowers and everything. And then I went to this whole cyber thing, and I was like, no, you can't mix I know I mix genres all the time, but you got to kind of pick a lane some days. So let's see. I'm just going to refresh it one more time. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We'll see if everything worked. Because things were not working today. Things were not working. I think I put too much onto my blog. And sometimes WordPress gets fussy about it, even though I'm paying for the fancy account. Whatever. Okay. Yeah, this one, it turned out so cool. It's like, how can you not smile seeing something like that? That's an awesome one. And I'm just going to pull up the next clip. Okay, when I click on the right thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, this guy just goes.
It's the largest Holocaust in history, with 3 trillion individuals brutally murdered every year.
You've never visited my place.
How do you know?
Because if you had, you'd know that you're talking a load of shit.
And what animals do you farm? What is your industry?
I run a goat dairy. For a start, we don't rape our animals.
Yes, you use euphemisms such as artificial insemination, which
I
is
don't
great.
use artificial insemination. I run my bucks with my herd. My bucks.
Nature takes care of itself.
When the girls are in season, and only then. And it's their choice, nature's choice. We allow our kids to stay on their mother. We only take the excess. So you're talking a load of shit.
But you're making profit from animals, right? They're commodities to you.
No,
you have
sell
ownership
their
over them.
milk so that they can get food. They get fed better than I do.
Yeah. Funny how that works. I know. Because that one I liked. Oh God, yeah, totally not staged.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for the incredibly warm welcome here at a really important part of the economy here in Saskatchewan and across Western Canada.
Yeah.
Are still stubbornly high.
Yeah.
For students, which will allow an eligible couple with 2 children to
Oh shit.
They look so uncomfortable.
Go back.
receive up to 467.
They're like, okay, we're just supposed to like stand around and walk around to, like look like he cares about anyone Muslim.
What the hell country am I in?
Just 30 more seconds and it's payday.
Canadians with family incomes under $90,000 a year.
I can only carry so many
under
onions.
$70,000 a year. Costs will be fully.
Yeah. It's kind of funny, some of these photo ops. It's great, but I'm not saying Pierre doesn't do it as well, but he just does it in almost better these days. Oh, this one is so cool, because this one could be a good thing for people, especially in Florida.
Hey, how the heck did that get in here? It's an alligator roaming through a house.
Hey, buddy. How's
in
it going? You're just going to hang out in my kitchen?
A woman in South Carolina when it got into her kitchen. Even a bear made use of this doggy door.
I don't know how that bear fit in there.
And so we have possums and skunks and raccoons and squirrels and coyotes in the area.
Cindy Akayama says she's made sure the only thing that goes
this
through
is
her doggy
really
door
ingenious.
are her dogs.
I've got the best doggy door.
She uses a high-tech doggy door which will only open and close for her dogs. They wear special ultrasonic collars that will only activate the door when they're near.
That is damn cool.
To train them
like, that's damn cool.
Nick Bonji is the president of High Tech Pet Products. He says using this high-tech doggy door offers more security than just a regular flap door.
Yeah.
Unwanted pets will not be able to get through this.
Yes, like alligators. Like, yeah, you don't want those critters in your house. No. I think these are, it seemed like a lot of clips today, but I think a lot are just shorts. Okay, how long is this? This one's, I think, only 3 minutes. 4 minutes.
The pressure will mount on him to show, well, what is your evidence? If you sing our song, or at the very least look the other way while we glorify martyrs and assassins and mass murderers, then we can bring you 10,000 votes. But if you stand in our way, if you don't sing our song,
India's going to get messy.
Activities,
China's already getting messy right now.
Upon which, that's the left-wing minority party.
Yeah, it is.
Currently sustains Trudeau's minority government with its votes. And they are led, of course, the NDP, that is, by Jagmeet Singh, who is a lifelong Khalistani sympathizer. If there was an election tomorrow, he would lose it to the Conservative opposition. Trudeau's time is widely seen to be ending, if not over.
Yeah, this is kind of like...
There are the numbers. Canada has a very large number of people from the Sikh diaspora, about 770,000, according to the last census. It's now probably more than that. That's the largest share. Canada has the largest share in the world of the Sikh diaspora.
Yeah, so it is.
The politics of the matter. You'd be surprised if I didn't mention that aspect of it. That is to say, the vote bank politics, which has been identified, I think, quite correctly by Foreign Minister Jaishankar, by which the parties compete for blocks of votes. In other words, they're not competing vote by vote, but for 10,000 votes at a time.
This is how it
of
goes.
The diaspora communities, and the Khalistanis have been extremely astute and very capable, well organized and disciplined in organizing their political activity so that they can go to members of parliament and say, well, look, the federal election in Canada, many of them turn on these critical districts in Ontario and British Columbia, where we're most numerous. And if you sing our song, or at the very least look the other way while we glorify martyrs and assassins and mass murderers, then we can bring you 10,000 votes. But if you stand in our way, if you don't sing our song, and you complain about our activities, then we're taking those 10,000 votes to the other party. It isn't necessarily going to change radically if you have a new government. The Conservatives have not been knights in shining armor on this file, and nor has the NDP, upon which, that's the left-wing minority party, which currently sustains Trudeau's minority government with its votes. And they are led, of course, the NDP, that is, by Jagmeet Singh, who is a lifelong Palestini sympathizer. If there was an election tomorrow, he would lose it to the Conservative opposition. The Liberal Party has been slumping badly in the polls. Trudeau's time is widely seen to be ending, if not over. And although it doesn't have to be another election for another couple of years, but probably it would come next year. And in the meantime, the pressure will mount on him to show, well, what is your evidence? You can't just say it and then start booting diplomats out and offer nothing to connect the government of India to this terrible murder in British Columbia.
I don't always agree with everything that I put up, just to be clear. Sometimes I put things up even if I don't agree with them, just to show a different point of view. And oh boy, I think we're going to get into some Russell Brand today. I know everyone and their dog is. No pun intended. They look so real when they're big. Oh yeah, this is bad. Yeah. Some of the
India
artwork
has expelled a
isn't loading
senior
today.
Canadian diplomat as relations
Seems to
between
be
the
loading
two
on
countries
PC.
worsen over allegations by the Canadians
Hopefully.
that Indian agents might have been involved in the murder of a Canadian Sikh activist.
I'm not even going to
Hardeep
pull
Singh
this
Najjar
up.
was shot dead outside a temple in British Columbia less than 3 years after he was designated a terrorist by India. A statement from the Indian Foreign
Yeah, it's getting really messy here. I'm going to pull up more from the... This one's happy. Let's pull up a happy one. I like happy ones. Let's pull up a happy one.
Yeah. What are you doing? Robbing you? Dude, my neighbor is like 10 times richer. Let's go rob him. Oh, yeah, I'm down. Oh my god, hi, a person! Hi. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm gonna pee. What? I'm gonna pee. No, I'm peeing. Don't.
No.
Ah! Oh, this place is perfect. Look at all this stuff.
The German Shepherd. What are your punk music? Yeah. Yeah. I've had shepherds. They are a good little handful. Kiss your shoes goodbye. Same with huskies. Zeus was actually, I mean, he destroyed one pair and he destroyed one purse, but after that he just sort of made love to them. Don't ask. Chihuahuas are weird that way. Oh god, this one's...
To all the people that keep sending me the picture of the popcorn bag next to the missing smoke detector saying that they actually think it's a good alternative to working smoke detectors, I have good and bad news for you. Bad news is popcorn doesn't pop until 355 lovely degrees, so you're never even going to wake up to know that that thing was going off. Good news is, though, you're going to get to show up to the afterlife with snacks.
Snacks are good. I don't see a problem. Okay. This one.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
And Colorado has made a long shot entry into the places with things that want to kill you competition. Right beside our friends in Arizona, Florida,
Yay!
and of course,
Well done, Colorado, with the U.
country seems to want to kill
You keep forgetting
Well,
the
I
U.
could just imagine it. You're having a beautiful afternoon day, and you're just strolling through the scenes in Colorado, looking at the mountaintops, taking in the beauty and the majesty of it all. Then all of a sudden, a 2,000-plus pound elk decides to take his horns and shove them, well, where the sun doesn't shine. Nope, that's not exactly the way that I had planned to go out, but it seems that it may be an opportunity for you if you are to venture into Colorado. I'm also starting to see a pattern here. It seems like every place has its own little flair and flavor of things that want to kill you.
Yeah.
It's really just all about what's your tolerance level and how often you want to see it. Because, well, I would assume that in some places...
You know, where are your
probably
boundaries
more
on
tolerant
this?
than others.
Like,
Let it be known that the elk is pretty high up on the list, especially if he's going to charge your car. Touche, Colorado. Touche.
yeah. That one was funny. Oh God, this one was nuts. I don't. Yay, Toronto! I thought Victoria was bad, but no, you guys are winning it. You guys are going hard. Going hard on, yeah, this is brutal. Like, oh my God. Damn. Damn, they're skilled. Look at how many officers are trying to restrain that one. Wow, yeah. Trank is one hell of a drug, right? Fuck, man. And people wonder why I don't want to see a Raptors game in live. Not sure. I like that. Like I like some of these. Oh, and now we got Pierre. This one was this morning.
The more and more inflation is rising, which continues to prove what I said all along, which is that COVID had nothing to do with inflation. It is entirely a made in Canada, made by a government-made inflation that is the result of deficits and taxes on Canadians. And it's no longer just me saying it. Everyone has slowly but grudgingly come on to my point of view. The governor of the Bank of Canada has said that the deficits are driving inflation. The former Liberal finance minister, John Manley, says deficits are driving inflation. Even Chrystia Freeland said that deficits pour fuel on the inflationary fire.
Budget
right
themselves.
Before she decided to pour $60 billion of that fuel on that fire. So this is more proof that Justin Trudeau is not worth the cost. But neither is Jagmeet Singh. And this is, I'd like to take a moment to talk about greed and price gouging. The greed and price gouging of the Liberal NDP government.
Exactly.
Which takes more and more money from hardworking Canadians.
Exactly.
Raises the cost of government, which raises the cost of everything. After 8 years of Trudeau and the NDP, everything costs more. Work doesn't pay. Housing costs have doubled. And it gets worse every single day. What is most terrifying is that the inflation Trudeau has ballooned will put further pressure on the Bank of Canada to increase rates further at a time when Canadians are the most indebted people in the entire G7. What are people going to do? How are they going to pay their mortgages if Trudeau's inflation forces the bank to raise rates yet again? We can't afford that. That's why we need to replace this costly coalition that takes your money, taxes your food, and doubles your housing costs, with a common sense conservative government that frees people to earn powerful paychecks that buy affordable food, gas, and homes in safe neighborhoods. We will do it with a common sense plan that includes axing the NDP Liberal carbon tax, capping spending and cutting waste to eliminate the inflationary deficits, and incentivizing municipalities to remove bureaucracy so that we can build homes that Canadians can afford. Thank you very much.
Vous voulez éliminer le déficit. Selon les années de prédiction, on parle de 30 à 40 milliards par année. C'est à peu près 8 des dépenses du gouvernement. Où couperiez-vous précisément pour éliminer le déficit?
Le banque de l'infrastructure, le ArriveCan App. On va aussi mettre une loi dollar pour dollar qui obligerait le gouvernement de trouver $1 d'économie pour chaque nouveau dollar de dépenses. On va arrêter d'ajouter les dépenses. Il ne faut pas oublier qu'il y a un an, le gouvernement Trudeau a promis que c'était possible d'équilibrer le budget en 2028. Alors ça c'était leur propre promesse dans leur budget. Si c'était aussi irresponsable il y a un an, pourquoi ont-ils promis ça?
Ain't gonna translate for you.
Si on arrête des augmentations dans le coût du gouvernement l'une année après l'autre, si on élimine le gaspillage, on peut équilibrer le budget. On l'a fait quand le gouvernement conservateur était au pouvoir. On était capable d'équilibrer le budget et garder les prix, les taux d'intérêt et les taxes très bas.
On the issue of India, does Canada need to change its relationship with India in light of the intelligence the Prime Minister shared yesterday?
I think the Prime Minister needs to come clean with all the facts. We need to know.
Oh, God, yeah. Well, a lot of things he needs to come clean on.
Response? They just expelled an Indian diplomat. Should they do more in response to this news?
I think we need to see more facts. The Prime Minister hasn't provided any facts. He provided a statement, and I will just emphasize that he didn't tell me any more in private than he told me in public, so we want to see more information.
It's not raining, it's just like one big
doesn't
fog.
provide more information, or these allegations are found somehow to be untrue or uncredible. What is the risk?
Real.
What specific information, what specific facts do you think Canadians and yourself need to know in this situation?
Everything.
We need to have the evidence that allowed the Prime Minister to come to the conclusions he made yesterday.
The government's decision to go public with the intelligence, and if so, why?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Do you agree with the government's decision to go public with the intelligence, and if so, why?
I would have to have more evidence to make a judgment on that.
Good statement.
I do find it interesting that he knew about vast foreign interference by Beijing for many years at the same time as Beijing had kept 2 Canadian citizens hostage, and he said nothing and he did nothing. Just very, very interesting that was the approach he took in that case.
Good deflection, but
Il faut reconnaître que Justin Trudeau n'est même pas capable de livrer un passeport. On n'a pas confiance dans un gouvernement incompétent de Justin Trudeau.
Servir des oui ou non à tout le monde, oui ou non?
oh, he's losing his patience. Yeah. Yeah, this clip gets short soon. Oh, he says something about groups, I think. No, we're gonna keep going. Oh, yeah, we're almost done with this one. You only have a bit more. Sorry, folks. Some of these might be long, some might be short, some might be funny, some might be like, what the fuck?
On sait qu'en Ontario, quand Mme Wynne a mis en place un programme, qu'est-ce qu'ils ont fait? Ils ont payé la facture en enlevant les médicaments des enfants avec le cancer. Alors, Ils ont réduit les médicaments disponibles aux hôpitaux pour les enfants souffrant de cancer. Et c'était les libéraux tellement compassionnés. Donc, il faut voir les détails parce que souvent, quand le gouvernement crée des grands programmes, il y a beaucoup plus de victimes qu'il y a des gagnants.
Sanctions against India. Do you think there should be sanctions against India at this point?
We need to see the facts.
Oh God, please no, please no, please no. That would fucking tank her economy. Oh God, please no, like no more sanctions, no more stupidity. Let's just stop. That one turned out so cool. How long's this one?
Hindu girls are being found in fridges and in suitcases, cut up
This
in
was
many
brutal.
parts.
This was brutal. Trigger
And
warning.
as a society, we are still at a point where we're debating if predatory proselytization is even true or simply a myth. And this is not just endemic to India. In Pakistan, more than 1,000 Hindu girls are forcibly converted and married off to older men of a different religion just because the Hindu identity is unacceptable. This kind of inherent bias, which is being propagated by other religious sentiments, have unfortunately put Hindu girls in harm's way. It is unfortunately the reality of the 21st century. But attempts to brush it under the carpet.
It's been happening a while back.
Say, dismissing these instances as concocted, as conspiracies to defame communities, and other things have unfortunately put the very basic safety and social security of our girls in harm's way.
Yeah.
We need to discuss this more.
Yes,
we need to discuss this now.
This is why I'm bringing this up right now.
Every day. Why is it that our women are having to face this day in and day out?
Any women.
Just because we can't
It
bring ourselves
happens
out
over
of
here.
tropes of political correctness, just because we want to be seen as tolerant, is it that? I think sensitivity goes both ways. Tolerance goes both ways. And so does basic sense of decency. Currently, the least that we can do to safeguard our women is to drop the charade. Drop this horrific charade of political correctness and address predatory proselytization for the problem that it has become.
Well said. I know. A lot of people probably, that is a hard one to hear, but it needs to be said. Some of these, like I said, some are going to be funny. Some aren't going to be funny at all. That one's so cute. I want to do more of that one. Oh, God. Yeah, this just came out. Or, yeah, sort of came out.
How long does it take to fly down a plane from Canada, especially if you are the Prime Minister of the country? For Justin Trudeau, it took 2 days, 2 whole days. He was set to leave India on Sunday after the G20 summit, but he was stranded here till 1 p.m. IST.
They offered him a jet.
His plane broke down, so he delayed his return by some 48 hours.
He said no, because he didn't want to come back.
Can the head of a country really afford to lose that kind of time?
He didn't want to go back to
work. Was Trudeau in no rush to leave India? Let's discuss. Trudeau planned to fly back to Canada on September the 10th, but his flight, Airbus CC-150 Polaris, suffered a maintenance problem, a glitch. Canada's Department of National Defence said that the plane needed a component to be replaced. It also said that a replacement aircraft was being sent to India to bring Trudeau home, but the plane never came. Reports said it was diverted to the UK. Why? It wasn't clear. Ultimately, the Airbus was fixed. Trudeau and his delegation left, but not without raising some eyebrows. Is this the stage of Canada's
Canadians?
That the Prime Minister has to wait for 2 whole days
fucking fed up with this man.
Home? It wasn't the first time this has happened. Trudeau has been left red-faced by multiple such breakdowns.
Or black
In 2018, when Trudeau was headed to India on his previous visit, a sensor was damaged on his plane. This led to a 3-hour-long refueling stop in Rome instead of the usual 90 minutes. Then in September 2019, a bus-faring journalist slammed into the wing of Trudeau's campaign plane. That same year in October, Trudeau's VIP plane collided with a wall while being brought to the hangar. The plane suffered considerable structural damage. It was out of service for several months. Trudeau wasn't on board in both cases.
Tax
In
dollars
December 2019, the Canadian
like
Prime Minister had to use
you
a
know,
backup
this
plane
is
to
where your
attend
paycheck
the NATO
goes.
summit.
Where
Even
your
that
paycheck
jet was
goes.
grounded in London.
I hope
as the Royal
everyone
Canadian Air
feels
Force
like
discovered
proud
a
and
malfunctioning
patriotic
aircraft.
right now.
You see, the Canadian Air Force has a spotty record. And it's not just the
No
transportation,
figure.
it's also Canadian buildings, like the Prime Minister's official residence, for example. This is the 24 Sussex Drive. It might look fine from the outside, but on the inside, it is a haven of rodents, mold,
I'm gonna make
from the
pause
Rashtrapati
this
Bhavan
one
to the White House.
because you know what? Trudeau let it get that way. This is like, it wasn't his building. And I honestly think maybe the reason he did it is he had so many traumatic events with like mommy's play dates that he just let it go to rust. And that is not what, it wasn't his to begin with. It is the collective history of Canadians. It is a government building, and he has built all these other buildings. And he keeps like wanting more tax dollars for all these more mansions. Yet this one, which is a heritage building, like, I'm sorry he had a traumatic childhood. We all fucking did. Get over it. Like, he has 80 million, his net worth is worth $80 million. To fix that place up, it would only cost like probably $2 million. Like, even with the rodents and the electrical, like, I have seen bigger projects for less. Like, I think that's like a fair budget. And hey, why don't you ask, like, why doesn't he ask people from the Historical Society or construction companies, hey, we need 24 Sussex fixed up because we believe in our Canadian heritage. Even if he doesn't. Even if he doesn't, we do. We could fix it up. He won't, because he's just this fucking little elitist shit. You can tell. Sorry, she's Indian, but 21st Sussex really is, as someone who is an archaeology, architecture student, art history, like, when I see what he has treated, what should have been, like, everything's falling apart, including his reputation. It's like almost a metaphor, but there's a lot of us Canadian contractors who would go in there and help restore it. Like, it doesn't need to cost so much, but he loves giving these little kickbacks to his buddies, and some of those kickbacks were for dumping like toxic waste. That was, I'm still trying to find that article. I lost it on another phone, but I'm gonna find it. And some of it, what he did before he was the prime minister, it's just bad. Peace and respect, Richard. Good to see you, sir. No, I'm just talking about Canadian politics, and I did. Oh my God, you will. Okay, I don't want to pull it up, but look up a clip called Fuzzy Dragons on my account. I think you would like that one. I'm getting good with the AI. Just because it's like, I couldn't do this kind of animation before. Like, you actually had to develop photographs. And like, what were the max roll of films? Like 36 films, 36, photos. So that's like 1 second of animation, basically 1.5. So you'd need roughly probably 20, 30 rolls of film just to get any kind of basic animation. I did a cool one today, but I'm not finished yet. I'll send you a link when I'm done it, because it's real damn cool. I just need to, it's one program lets me variate it, but one, it just has like crisper images. So I kind of had to use like both. And it is insane. I think I've done probably 10,000 images. This one was so good. What is a Woman? Matt Walsh. This was Washington and Lee University. Great. I'm going to pull up some more of, how long's this one? I hate CBC. Okay, it's a short one.
Divisions. As
I really hate subjecting people to long parts of the CBC.
I'm very concerned about divisions. I think when you have a prime minister making this public statement without providing the actual evidence is also a problem, because now there's a lot of room for
quick question. Which country has nukes? Canada or India?
Some of the evidence. And
TikTok,
then we can,
TikTok.
have a more
I
concrete
think we're
conversation.
screwed if he
And so
keeps
what is
his.
happening now
Oh my
is,
God, they hate him already.
anger and resentment.
If he could just
are
keep
now
his
coming
mouth
to the
shut.
surface,
Oh my
between,
God, oh
some
boy.
Hindus, some Sikhs, and within the Sikh community. So I think this is problematic. And then indeed, when we look at the allegation
Problematic.
against
No,
the Indian
no.
government,
Herpes
that's
is
also
problematic.
going to,
Potentially
produce
getting
further
nuked by
divisions
India
between,
is
Trudeau
a little
and the
concerning
Indian
at this
government.
point,
So you're gonna have
especially
people that
considering
support
half our
Trudeau,
troops are
Indian government, so there's gonna be
overseas
division within that. So
because
I personally
China
wonder
and
whether that
Taiwan
was,
are
a
stepping
good
up.
move on the part of Trudeau,
Good times,
to
good
make
times.
this public statement
What are we
without
gonna?
providing concrete evidence. So I am concerned, and I'm also concerned in the sense
She's
that if
concerned.
indeed these
I think
allegations
everyone's
prove
fucking
true,
concerned.
what's
You
to
should
say
be concerned.
that this will not continue in terms of having other activists become the target. And it's these thoughts that I think produce fear. And when people are fearful, they may act in ways that may not be rational. And
I'll
I'm
get into
concerned,
Surrey
and I don't think this
and
is gonna move in a
exactly the
positive
lower
way.
mainland.
And I really think
How
that there
this,
has to be
because I
some
remember this
discussion
case, but
on
at the
both
same time,
sides.
so many people like get
because
stabbed or shot
some
on the
of the
lower
activism
mainland.
that we
It's
have
like,
seen has
okay,
been
oh yeah, that
educational
one.
for
Sorry, I
Khalistan.
don't mean to
There have,
sound
however,
callous,
also been
but
concerns about some of the
I care
images
about
that
the
have been
kids who
used
die. I don't care
that
about
may not
a lot
represent
of
the sentiment
the others.
of Sikhs
Sorry
that
if
want
that sounds
homeland,
mean.
that can be viewed as disturbing from the lens of the Indian government. These are issues that also have to be addressed as well. So there's a lot of conversation happening, and I agree.
Probably
that there
not
needs to be
productive
calm,
conversation, but
needs
at least
to
they're
be
trying.
a really important thinking process going on right now before action.
Yeah, that's not really promising to hear. No, not at all. Oh, shitty. Oh yeah, this one's interesting. This one's a little long. Just going to see if there's a. Okay, that one. Oh God, I'm like, just the animation I'm getting is so amazing. It's like some days it's like I can just take whatever I put out of my head into the program and it'll work. He's a little long, but we're gonna pull him
Ladies
up.
and gents, welcome back. The word hate has been used a lot lately in news and politics. And well, what exactly does the word hate mean? Well, what are the context to all of this as politicians are telling us who is hateful and who?
It's okay, Richard. I talk really fast sometimes. Like I'm thinking way faster than I can actually talk. And I just I'm pissing off my friends and family so much because they're like, and I'm applying at real jobs, like, real jobs. Like, but meanwhile, I'm like, I did apply at one tech firm today. I don't know if they'll hire me because I am so rusty with code. Like, but at the same time, yeah, it's okay. It was actually something I made for my nephew or my niece who are, they're just barely in school. They're like kindergartners. So, something like that to flow in. And some of my other ones, like I'm just experimenting. I don't care if people don't get it. Well, I don't get half your theology, so there. I mean, I get half of it. You'd like the dreams of aliens. Like, it's probably more up your alley. But it's like you were doing your, yeah, like, yes, like how you were doing about drawing the Bible. This is sort of like my process with it. Because I've always dreamed of doing stop motion animation. And technology's come so far, I can actually do it on a little shoestring budget. And if this tech firm actually takes interest, I could have a bit more budget. Fingers crossed, who knows? No, but I'm making like that. I'll send you the draft of the longer version. Like that's just a trailer. I do trailers sometimes. And I have even more images. Like I've probably done 10 to 20,000 images since I started experimenting with the AI programs, which is really going to take my storage. But yeah. Are you doing good, Richard? I hope you're doing good. I always like try and send you happy thoughts, or I kind of do that like group prayer in the morning, when I wake up, like all my YouTube friends and all my other friends, all my Twitter friends, and yes, all of you 5 people on Twitch. I love you. You are my anchor. who knows? Like, I can't figure out. Rumble just isn't working for me to load things because I want to load things on Rumble. Aw. I know you've been so busy and you were saying like, yeah, I have projects lined up. I'm gonna be busy. So yeah, I totally understand. I just like sharing sometimes like little bits of joy. It's like, or like sending a postcard to a cousin or something, you know? So I'm gonna go on to this because I just gotta check the oven. I was gonna make grilled cheese. I've been just on a great grilled cheese bender lately. I love grilled cheese. It's wonderful. Big hugs, big cousin.
Who is not. So today I decided I wanted to bring in somebody who's probably an authority on this one, as an article she co-authored recently has been getting the rounds on media and getting out there. So without further ado, Kareem Assad, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a big pleasure, actually. I've been trying to get your attention for months and months. I've seen, ever since I was covering the Freedom Convoy, I noticed you were covering the Freedom Convoy from a different perspective, and I wanted to get you on because I want to have people that have differing opinions come together in a civil sort of way and have these conversations, because this is the way out of all of this trouble that we find ourselves in. And yeah, we can disagree and come together and see things eye to eye. And the truth is really what we're really after in this. So I want to congratulate you on your success with this, co-authoring this article, first and foremost.
Thank you. Yeah, it was kind of a whirlwind experience. It's premised on freedom of information documents that Elisa Haddigan and I received that focused primarily on RCMP emails and reports and exchanges. And we got the documents on September 1st. We published the initial teaser September 11th, and the full report came out on September 12th. So, you know, it's been a busy couple of weeks.
It has been. And so the reason why a lot of people probably in some circles of, that are followers of the channel are hearing about this is because there's a lot of people saying this is vindicated. The Diagolon group, or if it's even considered a group, apparently the RCMP don't even consider it a group, according to your article here. So is that wasn't what you were setting out to do? What was the purpose of this?
Yeah, that's a slight misreading because the article doesn't actually take a position on Diagolon or Jeremy McKenzie's podcasts or the content of that. The real focus is on how the RCMP took
Can I just like pause this for a second?
Diagolon, like namely that it's
I gotta pause this for a second.
Violent extremist militia.
Yes,
and that the assessment.
Okay, yeah, I just gotta pause this awkward moment. Where is it? Somewhere around here. Keeps running away from me. Here's the funny thing about Diagolon and everything they're talking about. Yeah, he's not a bad guy. He actually isn't. A little dumb at times. Oh no, I totally I'm like, okay, you're an idiot. But let me just show you. Pull it up big screen. So Da-da-da. Here we go. He made like challenge coins, and with all his court costs, like I kind of wanted to help him out. Kind of help a veteran. Yeah, and these are nice challenge coins. Like I've had some challenge coins over the years. Unfortunately, I lost my good one. It was stolen, but hey, you know, I'm sure Cromer got them.
Was inaccurate, and the RCMP relied on primarily open source information, which means not their own investigation, but information that's publicly available or accessible, including news articles that quoted the Anti-Hate Network directly, and there was this feedback loop between law enforcement, media, and government officials that basically it created a lot of frenzy and hype where it was much ado about nothing. And this all happened around the time of the invocation of the Emergencies Act. And even though it's not accurate to say that this was the singular reason the Emergencies Act got invoked, it was a contributing factor, and I think important for the public to know and understand what was happening behind the scenes.
So in the article here, we have snippets from the RCMP saying Diagolon is not a violent extremist group, does not pose a criminal or national security threat, not accelerationist as one of the terms, and we could get into the definition of what even that means.
Can I just, we're going to pause this for a moment.
It goes on and on.
We're going to pause this.
It says,
let me actually explain Diagolon. It is a satire. It is the idea that Canada and the United States can be like divided diagonally from Alaska to Florida, just kind of cut around all the woke. And it is a fake country run by a plastic goat who really loves cocaine. And the Canadian government spent 3 days debating this. This is like, it's fucking a joke. It is a joke. Like, there is no Diagolon. There is not a conspiracy, because there can never be a fake country run by a plastic goat. Just, yes, this is how dumb our governments are, but let's just keep going with this. Oh, yeah, it's a plastic goat that runs Diagolon.
We don't think that these are crazy people. In
Plastic
that way,
goat.
Maybe they're unsavory.
Yeah.
It even goes to say, but maybe not.
Like, are we
not
this
these
dumb?
crazy criminals that are being declared. And it goes in to say that the Anti-Hate Network is cited as the main authority in all of these cases where it's been said for that. Now, who is the Anti-Hate Network? Most people of this channel probably don't even know who they are. What is this organization? What is the purpose, the stated goal? What is we have stated goals and then what they actually do, and where are they moving forward from here?
So the Anti-Hate Network is an organization that was formed in 2018 with the express purpose of monitoring and researching and reporting on far-right groups. So there's sort of already there in its mandate, there's a clear focus, which is not inherently problematic in and of itself. However, the way that the work looks in practice, it is a lot of emphasis on individual civilians who may or may not have large followings, but there's, questions about the research methodologies and the lack of transparency within the organization. And I'll just give two quick examples on those points. The first being there are several staff members who we cannot verify their credentials or even their names. So there's kind of a shroud of secrecy. A lot of articles are published with no byline whatsoever, which is not really conducive to transparent journalism. And in terms of its methodologies, just last year, the organization put out an ad for an undercover researcher journalist who would get $55,000 a year to infiltrate white supremacist groups and write 2 to 3 articles per week. But again, these are ostensibly civilians. So sort of there's a lot that could go wrong there, either as far as putting an individual in danger or creating incentives for exaggeration and hyperbole in order to meet a story quota.
Some of this is just
and this
nuts.
is just
Like,
the tip of the iceberg.
55.
There, is a
I'm
lot
in
to
the wrong
unpack, especially
business.
if we look into
55
some
grand
of the
to
main
hang out,
players
like
in the
listening
organization
to bad punk music,
and
getting drunk.
their history
Okay, I think I could do
in
it.
Canada, the way that they have
Bad
interacted
jokes. Bad jokes. No,
with
it's like
this broad concept of hate, how it's been monetized, and it casts aspersion on the intentionality behind some of this.
Yeah.
Now, the first thing that struck
And-
me when
and
you said
actually
it's,
the leader of
far-right hate groups. I
this-
mean, if it's the anti-hate network,
one of
wouldn't you
the
put it
anti-hate
on all
group
groups, like
leaders
left, right,
is
center.
basically getting
Doesn't
kicked
matter,
out of the
right?
country
They're
for
very,
being a
very
terrorist.
open
So.
about wearing their biases
Figure
on
that
their
one
sleeve.
out.
And again, that's it's their prerogative. Although I agree with you that a more holistic view and perhaps a focus on extremism writ large, even though there are differences in the way that it manifests, it's a problem in a polarized society nonetheless. But they're quite clear about that. And the seed funding for the Anti-Hate Network came from the Southern Poverty Law Center, and they also received.
Okay,
they
so
also
that was
received-
one of my questions. I was going to ask. It sounds a lot like the SPLC, which
No,
is under
actually,
fire right
Richard,
now
actually,
for some of their
Richard-
activities in the United States of America. For people
Actually,
that
Richard,
don't know
I
who they
wouldn't.
are, can you explain real quick who they are?
I'm like this close
I don't know that I
to
can do it
putting
justice,
you
but
on a timeout for
they're
that
basically like the
comment.
Anti-Hate Network. It's
One
a
more,
group
babe.
that kind of it documents and monitors, far right hate groups. But there have been lawsuits about involving people who were falsely
One more.
characterized in that category, suffered intense reputational damage as a result. So there's controversy. The Anti-Hate Network, is embroiled now in a couple of lawsuits, and in fact, I am a litigant in one of them. But kind of the other issue is it received a substantial grant from the federal government in early on in its inception. And the way that it operates, basically anyone who is right of the ruling party, the Liberal government, is at risk of being characterized as far right. And functionally, there are people who are political dissidents who have come under attack, and that would include Jeremy McKenzie.
So we've been hearing this term far right quite a bit.
Okay,
in the
and
media,
I will-
as of late,
I will be
saying
the
that
first one
any,
to say,
the
I
leader
have
of the
had it out
opposition
with
here,
Jeremy
Poilievre,
a
is
few
far-right
times
candidate.
because he does say
catering
some
to the far right, or he's dog whistling to them. Now we see in articles
comments
from the
that
SPL,
are
or,
just
sorry,
not
Freudian slip there,
kosher.
from the
Easy mistake to make.
if you get the drift.
Here, parental rights
You know,
policies
we've had
emerging
it
across
out.
Canada that critics warn could impact risk of trans youth.
But
they're
if we
calling
start
parental rights a far
going
right
into
issue. Now, what's often
Who
left
gets
out
canceled?
in these
Look at Russell Brand. I think I have some clips of him coming up.
Was largely started by Muslim Canadians. There's Muslim groups that got this million-person march going, and a lot of people have now since jumped onto this movement. But I find it really interesting that it's always omitted that it was from a minority Muslim community that started this thing, and it's sprouted on past that. Is this a typical behavior of the anti-hate network?
Yeah, there's not a lot of room for nuance in the way that they do their reporting. And, you know, I'm of the position that if we persistently brand any position or argument, including a modest parental rights position, as far-right extremism, then we are watering down the meaning of that term to the extent it still has relevance. So I think there's a lack of sort of conceptual rigor in the way this is approached. And you're correct that in this scenario, it was at least in its origin a Muslim-led protest. And that's not to say that Muslims can't or don't hold conservative views, but there is obviously a tension between competing human rights. And I think that's something that gets lost in conversation, especially when there is this over-reliance on hyperbole. And the way that human rights framework operates in Canada, there's no hierarchy of human rights, and the grounds are explicitly neutral. So what I mean by that is, you know, you can't discriminate against anyone based on race, and there's no race within categories of races that takes precedence, and there's no other competing ground, for example, religion, that would take precedence over race, for example, right? Like any accommodation is a balancing act. There are provisions that would allow for particularly disadvantaged groups to receive sort of extra accommodation, but it has to be a holistic look at things. And so our framework is actually quite decent, but not if it is misinterpreted or watered down.
I understand that. Now, you're a lawyer, so you're very clever on a lot of these legalese. I mean, a lot of it is a real dancing act in your head to try to get around the language used in this. But as a lawyer, what made you go from a practice, or I mean, maybe you still practice, but get into protests and documenting all of these movements in Canada?
I do still practice. That's, you know, my full-time gig. This is a hobby that is developing into sort of or has become a passion project. But it's quite by accident that I started documenting protests. Where my office is situated downtown Toronto, there would be the weekly Freedom anti-lockdown, anti-mask, however you term it, parades. And I would sometimes record it from upstairs where I was working, eventually got curious to see, you know, what was going on. Why are these people here? Why are they being led by the police? You know, we're all supposed to be in lockdown. What's happening? And, you know, it evolved from there, where I was just a fly on the wall, capturing things as they happened. As people started to recognize me and my work, there, you know, is an element of gonzo journalism to this, to the extent that I am a character for some folks. But overall, it's been a mission to understand. I'm inquisitive by nature, and you know that's continues to be the goal. Yeah.
Well, you definitely do have a look. I love the red glasses. It really accentuates your face. It looks great, and it looks really good for your branding. And I see that you have that for your Twitter handle. No, it's fantastic, and I really appreciate what it is that you're doing. And I think it's really important to have people come from different positions and different walks of life and come together, like I said in the beginning here, and analyze what's actually happening in our country, around the world, and take it from a different perspective. And I think it really brightens up the dialogue in a great way. And I really appreciate the work that you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And, you know, to your point about having a particular look, I've never hidden myself or concealed my identity in participating in any of these rallies. I don't have sort of undercover accounts. It's just face value, because I think that that is how we resolve these massive divides that currently exist, through actual communication from person to person. And so being very an intense look at institutions, the way they interact with people, the extent to which they benefit from division, that's, you know, I think that's important to focus on.
And of course, it's not that you haven't seen some vitriol from both sides on this, just trying to get to the truth, right?
Yeah, that's an understatement.
Fair enough. And yeah, it's scary. It's scary when you get really angry emails with the actual personal threats and things like that. But it definitely is a thing that comes with the territory. And I hope you best, as always, in the future. And thank you so much for joining me today, Karima.
Thank you.
Aloha from Louisiana. It's Sam coming to you guys. I'm going to need your help. Guys, there's a lady, and I'm going to say her name's, I'm going to blast her, you guys. Terry Kramer, who is legitimately trying to frame Eric West for doing something he did not do. See, this is why good people won't help. Right here. This is why I blocked over 700 people and will continue to do so until all the crazies are off of my channel. Because I'm not doing it for money. I was doing it for truth and for justice and to make sure the world's children were safe. This woman sent me an email trying to map out how much money his different GoFundMe's got and follow up on why they were closed and who got the money, and wanted me to join in her boat. Let me explain something to you guys. If you send me something like that, I'm going to rebuke you. And that's what I did. Because it's not my business what he did with that money. It's not my business. It's not your business. He's not a politician. He does not owe you an explanation. And he does not. I don't want to hear, yes, he does. No, he doesn't. He lives there. He knows where the money needs to go. If you didn't trust him in the beginning, you shouldn't have sent your money. You don't have a right to slander someone's name without proof. All right? This woman wasn't the police. She wasn't the Department of whatever. She's just another human like me or you that has nothing better to do with her time than to attack someone that's actually trying to help his community. I mean, come on, you guys. Come on, get a job, man. If you're that concerned about Maui, get up and go. But don't sit in your house and find demons where they aren't. Seriously, I had to put that out there. You send me some crappy email like that, I'm going to rebuke you publicly. And that's not slander because I have proof. All right, next thing, you guys. I want you all to go look this up. Hawaii Green Growth. It's called a local 2030 hub. And it's going to shock your socks off, you guys. Here's what we've been looking for. Now the truth is starting to come out. So somebody asked me, do you think these fires were accidental? No, I don't. No, I do not. It's a lot of stuff that green can't cover up off the internet. It's going to trace a trail to the truth. Now that we've laid to rest these beautiful children were not kidnapped off the island. I fell for it too. I mean, seriously, I fell for it too. But now that we've laid that to rest, let's really put our collective brains to figure out what in the mess are they fixing to do to Maui. Okay? So it's Environmental Assembly Regional Consultation for the UN. It's called Hawaii Green Growth. This article was published March 6th, 2019. It's hard to erase everything off the web. They do try, but they can't get it all. So that's you guys' homework. That's what we need to be focused on. Something smells bad in Maui. Something smells bad. Oh, and about the t-shirts. I can't figure out how to take them down. Told you guys, it's my job. Okay, real talk. I don't know how to take the merchandise down. So if I ever figure it out, which I'm sure eventually I will, I'll get to it. You see that quarter-acre market garden behind me? It is screaming my name. I have Trumpicini squash to pick. I have Queen Anne's lace to pick. I have bell peppers and okra and corn all screaming to come off the vines. I actually have a business that I need to get back to. So my time, my ability to focus totally on Maui is slowing down. So I'm going to need you guys to start putting these things together, okay? We need to know, what did he promise that Hawaii would do for all this money the UN sent them? And when did that money start pouring in? And if that money was pouring in, why are the roads so crappy in Maui once you get out of the tourist area? And the next thing, when I talked about the kids, parents not wanting to send them on the buses for an hour, 10, hour and 15 minutes, you guys realize there were schools in Lahaina? That's what I'm talking about. Y'all have no real perspective because you won't really do your research. People who sent me this kind of stuff, you guys are researching. That's why you can lay to rest the kids and you can move on to see what's really there. Everybody else, get off the YouTube channels. Real talk. You're rotting your stinking brains. You're busy. Just got off the plane today and I've got a harvest of quarter.
It's right there.
Love you guys. Thanks for letting me go. It was amazing. Learned a lot. But now we need to put together this because I've got friends in Maui that can fight from the inside, but they know what they need to fight against.
Hey man, I have some news for you. Okay, what's up? Kind of seeing someone new now. Oh, okay, well yeah, I mean that's fine. We can still John? Alex? What's going on? Is John gone? Yeah, he just disappeared. Oh, that's excellent. That means the medication is working. What medication? The chlorpromazine. I prescribed it for your schizophrenia, Alex. John isn't real. If he just disappeared, that means the medication could be working. That's great news. Is it? John was my only friend. But Alex, John wasn't real. He was real to me. John! Hey, man. You're back! Yeah, didn't work out with that one, but,
Just bad jokes. Bad jokes. If you're crazy, you get it.
Aging, unemployed, estrogen-filled lunatic Keith Oberman came at Riley Gaines saying that she didn't have any sports accomplishments, and the thrice-fired ESPN host, who now does a podcast out of his broom closet in his studio apartment in New York, got destroyed. Watch.
So let's go through it. SEC title, second in the country. This is my SEC Community Service Leader of the Year award, which actually got me a lot of money. Oh, another SEC title, an NCAA trophy. Oh, look, SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year. Believe it or not, I'm pretty smart. Another SEC title, another NCAA trophy. Oh, that's where we won an SEC championship as a team. Some more SEC honors. Oh, look, another one. That's when I broke the 200 butterfly record, the SEC record, which I still hold, making me one of the fastest Americans of all time. And so, Keith, I would be really sad if I broke this trying to prove a point to an old man who can't even seem to keep a job. But I've got more of these, so I'm not. Thanks, Keith.
Boom. Yeah. Way to lay it down there, little sister. Oh, yeah. That one's a good one. This one's bizarre. I'm pulling this one up because... No, I'm not. I'm not. I cannot do it. I put it up, like I said. They have some good points, but that one's a short about plastic surgery. I tried to start a store, but unfortunately my YouTube stats are not up to par enough to get a actual store, but I can probably do it on my website anyway, so I'm not really worried. I'm more worried about this. This is really damn concerning.
Diplomatic tit for tat is escalating today as India has now expelled a top Canadian diplomat just hours after Ottawa told the top Indian intelligence official in our country to get out. Nijar's son is speaking out today, saying it was just a matter of time before the truth about his father's death emerged, and the World Sikh Organization of Canada says it's shocked by the death as relations between India and Canada continue to spiral downward.
Things that is so important today is that India and the government of India takes seriously this matter. It is extremely serious, and it has far-reaching consequences in international law and otherwise.
Saying the investigation will follow the evidence, the Prime Minister says those responsible for the death of Hardeep Singh Nijjar will be held accountable.
We are not looking to provoke or escalate. We are simply laying out the facts as we understand them.
This is a time where we have to do two things. One, let the legal process continue as it must, and be prudent.
So right now we're going to stay focused on making sure that family gets adjusted and also making sure that the appropriate people get the appropriate information so that they can feel safe in our country.
Justin Trudeau says he wants to work with the Indian government, but New Delhi is denying the allegations, calling them, quote, absurd and motivated.
Sir,
Canada's High Commissioner in India, Cameron McKay, didn't respond to reporters as he entered the Indian Foreign Ministry today. He was given 5 days to leave the country amid protests against our Prime Minister in India. The decision coming after yesterday's announcement from Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly, saying India's top intel official in Ottawa, Pavan Kumar Ray, has been kicked out.
The allegations that a representative of a foreign government may have been involved in the killing of a Canadian citizen here in Canada on Canadian soil is not only troubling, but it is completely unacceptable.
The National Security and Intelligence Advisor to the Prime Minister, the Director of CSIS, have traveled on a number of occasions in recent weeks also to India to meet their counterparts in India to confront the Indian intelligence agencies with these allegations.
The president of a Sikh Gurdwara in Surrey, BC, 45-year-old Hardeep Singh Nijjar, was gunned down in the city on June 18th. He was an outspoken supporter for the creation of an independent Sikh homeland called Khalistan, which advocates want to carve out of the Indian state of Punjab.
See,
pro-Khalistan
protests
in Canada have drawn the ire of the Indian government to release a statement saying
it's
their
like the
Prime
government.
Minister,
Okay,
Narendra Modi,
I'm going to get into this one. Yeah, I'm going to get into this one because
a summit where
you see sort of a kind of hypocrisy coming on here.
Trudeau saying yesterday he confronted Modi about the murder of Nijjar on the trip. India claims Nijjar, who's a Canadian citizen, has links to terrorism,
who got
something he denied.
hacksaw?
People at his Gurdwara say they are frustrated it took Singh's death for the feds to acknowledge Indian interference in Canada.
this type of display by India on its foreign interference and Hardeep's death and the political assassination, it's not going to deter us from our goal. It's not going to strike the fear that they want within our community, that we will continue to raise our voice. We have the right to do so in this country.
For more on this, I'm joined now by Alistair Edgar from the Department of Political Science at Wilfrid Laurier University. Alistair, thanks for joining us.
Happy to be here.
I understand relations with India have been deteriorating for several years before these bombshell allegations. Can you catch us up on the backstory?
You figure it was deteriorating. No. It was like Hiroshima, okay?
Terrorist act against a Canadian target, if you will. And our difficulty in preventing that, our slow response to the investigations, with only one person having been held accountable for that, and others acquitted. And the government of India since then pressuring Canada to take what it says should be a firmer stance against the presence and the activities of Sikh nationalists in Canada. And we have, according to the Indian government, not done what they think we ought to be doing. So it's really been since 1985 onwards that this has been a persistent story.
What's your assessment of how the Canadian government is handling these allegations?
I think part of it has to be understood. But there's two answers to that. One is assuming that CSIS provided him with credible evidence that this assassination of a Sikh nationalist, a Canadian citizen,
I shouldn't laugh
Sikh,
when
that this was an agent of the Indian government sent to target this person and kill him. Then I think his announcement of that in the House is certainly called for. I think at the same time you have to understand this in the context of what we just went through and what the Liberal government just went through in its slow response to allegations of Chinese election interference in Canada. Because there, after that started to trickle out through leaks, then the criticism of the government was, why didn't you respond sooner? What did you know? When did you know it? Why didn't you report it to the House? So in that sense, I think he's doing politically the right thing in that environment. Calling it out publicly like that is a politically difficult thing to do with the government of India. But at the same time, if a Canadian citizen has been killed at the agency of the government of India, then I think it's the right thing to do, call it out.
How do you see this playing out in the coming days and weeks?
I think there will be obviously demands in the House, political demands for more information, for more transparent information. There's a problem with that, of course. CSIS gathers its information in ways that if you
nobody understands
all the information,
there's no like rhyme or reason to those
spycraft issues, if you want to use that phrase. But there will be demands for more evidence to back up those allegations. And from there, assuming that this announcement would not have been made without people having looked at those allegations and saying, yes, this is really credible, then there may be more repercussions.
That's Alistair Edgar from the Department of Political Science at Wilfrid Laurier University. Alistair, thanks for joining us.
Happy to have the chance to talk about it. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Oh God, it's starting to get wet in here. Oh, I didn't mean, I mean outside. I mean outside. Mine's out of the gutters. No, okay. Hopefully this works. I think I can get one more clip with the sunset. It's almost going anyways. Okay, that one's a long one. I might pull that one up later. Or if you're really interested, that one's been removed for terms of service. Okie dokies. No idea what even that one was. I think this one.
You know I had to give you at least one transformed wife quotation here.
Oh God, yeah.
And, let me
the
start
friendly atheist.
this one, which made me laugh. So
I'm a theist, but I
hard.
love him.
Oh, right. Share tab. That's what I want to do. Boom. I'm going to let you all just read this one. This is a real ass tweet that she did.
I know.
And I'm trying to make sense of it. I read this
on
thing
Twitter
like
/X.
8 times to try to make sense of it because it's not even in response to anything. She just starts.
Sometimes you just get on a rant. You know.
She is thinking of putting her young son into the public school. I warned her that they may ask him if he wants to be a girl. If she doesn't want him to be, they will take him from her, cut off his penis, and give him hormones. Protect your children, mothers. I taught at a public school. I do not remember, I don't remember ever doing that. I don't remember wanting to do that. I don't remember my colleagues ever wanting to do that.
No.
I really don't remember having the time to do that. Even if I wanted to, because I had other things I had to teach. I think I'm bothered by the fact that people like her, they're the biggest critics of public schools. And they spread these lies about the indoctrination that takes place in public schools and, how they're forcing trans on your kids and forcing them to read these books that promote, whatever culture war thing they want to talk about. They know the least about what actually happens in public schools. They have no clue what teachers are doing, what administrators have to put up with. It makes absolutely no sense. And again, the sort of people who follow her totally believe this is how it works. Like, here's how it works in public
there's
schools.
a little truth to
On
this.
the roster, it
She
says your
might
name is
be
Samantha.
right.
What should I call you? Sam?
I think both.
Okay.
I think
Cool,
there's.
we're done. That's
We
the
need to
end of
find
that
a middle
conversation.
ground.
And if someone says, I go by this name, and it's not the one I see, it's like, whatever, fine. Now go do your math homework. Like, that's how the conversation goes.
Yeah, that's how the conversation goes.
I do not care what's between their legs. All these people are obsessed with what's between your kids' legs. I will tell you, I know a lot of teachers, none of them care what's between your kids' legs because they're trying to do their job. So, but this sort of thinking, like, I know some of you think she's satire. She's not satire. She's a human being. She's real. She makes
know
videos.
a lot of
She's real. But there are groups, the Moms for Liberty groups, any group with liberty in their name. They're all like this. They all believe this bullshit. And if they don't call them out on this stuff.
It's not bullshit.
So that was a tweet.
There is a grain of truth in there.
I can't just stop there. Let me give you
You
one
know?
more from the Transformed Wife. Here's your.
Like
end
I
of the
said,
day.
I pull up
This was interesting
clips
too.
I don't
This is her
necessarily
argument
agree
for
with.
why women should not be working. Adultery has dramatically increased since women left their homes for the workforce. When you put men and women together all day long, it's the perfect recipe for adultery.
Yeah, that's one.
God wants women to be keepers at home and helpmeets to their husbands for many good reasons. This is one. Her argument here is women should
Or
not
like
work.
expensive pets? I don't know.
Two people next to each other, if you put men and women next to each other in the workplace,
I know, it's just
this
going to
is
be
all
like,
they will do
I
all
know.
day, which suggests that no one has any self-control, which suggests all of these men and women who have careers, that's what they want.
It's amazing we even have like
they have
towns
no
and roads and bridges and oh
That's
my.
an interesting theory there. It also suggests that if men just work around men all day,
Yay, there you go.
if I'm reading her correctly here, the steel mill is a fine place to work if you watch
I'm
The Simpsons 20 years
lumberdacking.
ago.
I'm okay.
But like, in her
I'm
mind,
going.
women shouldn't work because if they work with men, the banging will happen.
Excellent
and therefore, because no
You
one
can't
can keep it together,
fault his
women should
science.
stay at home
You
and
can't
serve
argue
their
with
husbands and
it.
cook dinner all
It's
day,
really-
homeschool their
Yeah.
kids. And if everyone just stays in their Christian bubble / condom, nothing bad will ever happen.
15-minute city?
That's her world for you. And that's the world that a lot of evangelical megachurches tell their people.
Oh, yeah.
That's abstinence-only sex education for you. That's what evangelical women teach, like, young girls. That's also, by the way, like the Mike Pence rule or the Billy Graham rule. I can't be in a room with another woman who's not my wife, even in a professional setting, because who knows what'll happen. My pants might accidentally fall down.
Oopsie
Or
daisy.
she will accuse me of doing something indecent. It's like, dude, that's not how it works. You can just be professional, and she'll be professional, and you'll get your jobs done, and it's fine. Like, it's amazing that this is the mindset that these people really do. Forget her tweet for a second. These people really do think if you put men and women together who are not married, then only one thing will happen in that interaction. And it's like, I know all of you are thinking this too. Like, we all have platonic friends who are of the same sex or of a different sex or whatever, and it's fine. We're friends. You can have friends or not have friends. I'm not pretending like I have friends plural at all. But, like, that's the point. You can have friends. It improves your life to have these friends, and to suggest that once you get married, you cut off all ties with the opposite sex for life. And that also assumes you're going to be married forever, that there's no other alternative there whatsoever, that every marriage
No wonder they always
out
like
perfectly.
pray
But then
for
what happens?
Jesus,
What happens if you
that
actually
sounds
go
like
through with
hell.
the divorce in her situation? Because now you basically cut off pretty much everyone in your life too. I don't know. It is messed up. Thank you for this. I appreciate it. That makes, I think I'm up to 3 friends now. This is great.
Yay! Everyone likes friends. One more clip outside. It's such a beautiful sunset. It really is. Oh God, please scroll down. Please scroll down. Come on. Come on, baby. You can do it for me. Here we go. Okay. This one's a little long, but I'm gonna just start it just so I can finish my joint and then go back inside.
Here's something that makes my blood boil. A California bill has just passed that requires that parents affirm their child's gender transition, hormone surgery, puberty blockers, or else they could lose the custody of the child to the other parent, or the state could take the child away. Welcome back to the JP Reacts channel, my beautiful freedom-loving friend, where we like to call out the lies, hypocrisy, corruption of tyrants, shine the light of awareness on woke absurdities, and highlight the amazing work of other freedom fighters. The culmination of tyrants, woke absurdities, and anti-freedom fighters. It's all found pretty well in the California government. California, you heard it at the beginning, as you can see here, California passes bill requiring parents to affirm kids' gender transitions. So you have a little boy, the kid says, guess what, mom and dad, I'm a girl. This bill requires that the parents affirm them. Now affirm, in this case, it doesn't just mean like, yeah, you go girl, or you are a girl. And by the way, that would be insane. It's compelled speech, it's compelled activities, and it's lunacy because you're affirming the child's imagination as though it's reality. Some would say that's mentally unstable because it is. But no, this bill doesn't stop there. You have to affirm your child's gender imagination with surgery, hormone blockers, puberty blockers, basically whatever the child says they need. You know, we're talking well-developed brains here. We're talking like an 8-year-old. Their brain's fully formed. They're an adult, just kind of. So whatever the child feels as though they need to affirm their identity, their gender identity. By the way, they usually need a lot of stuff because they're not that gender. So they need to do a lot of convincing. Let's do some hormonal convincing. Can we slice this off? Let's castrate me. Let's get a This protect your child use of genital mutilation. So one parent's not affirming the gender, so the judge can automatically award custody to the other parent who's willing to do these atrocities. Yikes. But there's also language that says the state can take the child. Let's take a look at a quick couple specifics before I start screaming. The California State Assembly passed a bill on Friday that would require judges in child custody cases to consider whether a parent has affirmed a child's gender transition by making gender affirmation an equal part of a child's health, safety, and welfare under state law. Well, some would say this gender affirmation, it is detrimental to the child's health, safety, and welfare, because it is. Democratic lawmakers bill AB 957. Oh, shocker. It was a Democrat bill. That's weird. By the way, just so you know, you see Democrat lawmakers want you to abort your child before it's born. They want you to kill it before it's born. We want you to kill your children. But you can trust us on this. We know this is the best thing for your child. This new bill, you got to definitely affirm your children. This is the best thing for the children. Trust us. We have your child's best interest at heart, but we wish you would have killed your child. The California Senate passed the bill Wednesday, 30-9, also along party lines. Shocker. Governor Gavin Newsom, a Democrat, you know that. Thanks for spelling that out for us, is expected to sign the bill into law. Under it, parents who refuse to participate in transgenderism by pretending, I like the way this is written by the Daily Signal, parents who refuse to participate in transgenderism by pretending that their child is a different gender could be guilty of failing to provide for the health, safety, and welfare of the child, therefore losing custody to another parent or the state. Let me ask you this question. If a kidnapper came up to you in the park, child's on the swing, and said, hey, I want you to go load your child up in my van, okay? You probably wouldn't do it. If there's some sort of evil demanding that you do something to your child that is in fact evil, do you think there's a point in time where you stop consenting, where you say no? Now, what if the kidnapper who's making these demands has a smile on his face? He's a well-dressed guy, slick back hair, no mask at the French Laundry, that kind of thing. Looks like a good guy. He's telling you he's a good guy, and he's telling you it's in the best interest of your child for you to go put him in my van. And in fact, if you don't put your child in my van with no windows, that's child abuse. Would you have enough sense as a parent to even at that say, absolutely not? Because that's where we're at. Yet we go, well, this is the lawmakers, this is the state, it's Gavin Newsom, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, and I would dare say what they're wanting to do to children, what they're wanting to compel you to do to children under the threat of them taking your child away from you, which, by the way, there's no greater threat to a parent. That's the worst thing you can do to a parent. They're trying to get you to do this to your child under the threat of taking your children away. But they're telling you it's for the child's best interests. They're telling you you're the abuser if you don't do this. Well, they're lawmakers. Yeah, it's the same thing, but worse. It's the devil masquerading as an angel in disguise. The kidnapper doesn't come up and say, hey, I'm a kidnapper, I'm here to do evil stuff to your kid. But as a parent, you realize when there's evil that wants to be done to your child, it doesn't announce itself that way. It doesn't say, hey, I'm evil and I'm here to hurt your child. Are you going to let me? The devil masquerades as an angel in disguise. The evil shows up and says, hey, I'm here to do good things to your child. You better let me, or else you're the bad guy. So there comes a point in time where parents have to stop waiting for permission and absolutely take control of their children's safety, their well-being. And that point in time is now. This California BS bill, parents in California, they can't just sit around waiting for someone to give them some kind of permission slip out of this. They can't sit around waiting, well, we got to get other lawmakers to undo this law. No, this is the time for parents to absolutely take a stand, refuse to comply. Well, there's the threat. Yeah, it's a threat from evil, so that evil can be done to your children. They're targeting parents with this bill so that their children can be made easier targets.
There's no question in my mind that this is nothing but pure evil, and the evil is masquerading as an angel, but it is in fact evil. I found this pretty interesting. Click over here to Twitter. Dr. Anastasia Maria Lupus posted something I thought was pretty interesting. Due to extreme amounts of LGBT propaganda, gotta add the Q in there. We still don't know what the hell Q is, like what that word actually means. But you gotta include the Q. Also, two-spirit. I feel like a two-spirit. I'm a two-spirit. So due to extreme amounts of LGBT propaganda, we are now seeing a 15,000% rise in castration, sterilization, and mutilation in these clinics since 2007. Here you can see the visual of it. I think the wrong paradigm to think about this is like, oh, the supply is meeting the demand, as tends to happen in honest capitalism. This, my friends, is not honest capitalism. It is dishonest evil using the facade of capitalism to propagate itself. It is creating a demand to meet the supply that you want to sell. By no means do I think this gender indoctrination that's resulted in a 15,000% higher supply in mutilation clinics than there used to be. In no way do I think this is just about the money. I do think there are some motivated by money. I think money is one of the motivators in this. Hey, if you, by the way, bring your 7-year-old in, bring them in early, because the sooner you bring them in, the sooner they become a lifelong customer of ours. Because guess what? We have to do unnatural things to their body, and they're in fact so unnatural, their natural physiology will be fighting in the opposite direction than what we're trying to do. So they're going to be a lifelong customer. They're always going to need these hormones. They're always going to, oh, something went wrong with the surgery. Oh, I gotta do another, bring them in. Make sure that check cashes, bro. I guarantee it's not just about the money. I think there is an absolute attempt to destroy humanity. I think there's an absolute attempt to weaken humanity. And part of that is capturing children, capturing their minds, capturing them physically, making children into this weakened state, making children extremely confused, disconnecting them from their power. Here's this for disempowering someone. What if you can convince someone that who they are is something that they're not? Your power comes from who you are. The more aware you are of who you are, which is a journey, not a destination, self-realization takes a while. But the more you can convince someone that who they are is something that they're not, the more disconnected from their power they are, because who you are is your source of power. So if you can convince someone that they are their gender, you have just convinced them to think that they are something that they're not. But you can even get more disempowering. If you convince them that they are their gender, but you convince them that they are a wrong gender, you then have a very disempowered person. And I do think that is absolutely part of what's going on. I think the disempowerment of humanity, weakening humanity, controlling humanity, and in this case, capturing people while they're young, children, disempowering them while they're young, weakening them while they're young, and weakening them in a permanent state, both psychologically and physically. I think that is absolutely a part of the primary agenda with the gender ideology, which is controlling people. But the only question is, are you someone who's going to let it happen, or are you someone who is not going to let it happen? You and I get to answer that question for ourselves. And with that said, my freedom-loving friends, this has not been a beautiful news update, yet this is an update, something I think we need to be aware of, because if things like this, what California is doing with this bill, if we're not aware of them and if we don't call them out, it spreads. So thank you for paying attention to this with me. Thank you for being on Team Humanity with me. And thank you for being someone who is extremely interested in protecting the innocent, protecting our children, their bodies and their minds, because they need it. And that responsibility is on our shoulders. So with that said, I'll look forward to seeing you on our next video. But before that, I want to tell you about something. Summer, or actually any holiday season, is a delightful time, isn't it? It's a time to take a break from the daily grind and live life to the fullest. However, all the fun aside, a lot of our health routines get thrown off track with late nights, irregular eating habits, and indulgences. So though it might not be easy when vacation season is done, it's time to get back on track with our health. If you're someone who struggles to get back on track, I have a tip for you. Focus on the majors: healthy eating, exercise, and above all else, high quality sleep. One interesting fact about sleep to mention: studies show that 2 servings of alcohol for men and 1 serving of alcohol for women can reduce sleep quality by 39%. And that's not even taking into account all the indulgent food and late nights. But the plot thickens because sleep is the key to your body's rejuvenation and repair processes.
Shut up, Dad.
It controls hunger and weight loss hormones, boosts energy levels, and contributes to almost every other vital function in your body. That's why I recommend taking magnesium, but not just any magnesium supplement. Magnesium Breakthrough by Bioptimizers. It contains all 7 forms of magnesium
if I play
that
their
your body needs
prompts,
to fall asleep, stay asleep, wake up energized and refreshed.
swag.
To help you get your health back on track with the absolute best sleep possible, go to magbreakthrough.com/JPReacts to get your Magnesium Breakthrough. And while you're there, use the discount code JPReacts10 to get 10% off. Enjoy getting back on track.
Yeah, I think I'll stick with my pizza pocket diet. Although this one is cool. This is Sandwich Fair. I think that one's a short one. I have a lot, but this one's cool. This one will work well with the sunset fading.
To the beans, Scarlet Runners, and Blue Lakes, and pole beans. A lot of beans here. Look at all the different garlics. Just like at my house. I wish. Look at these Scarlet Runners. These are monsters, man. Broad beans they are. Holy, look at that. That thing's huge, man. Yep, this is cool. Nice corn, too. Check out that corn. Gotta love corn. It's a little dried up. Looks like white corn. Yeah, it is white corn. Wow. Something else up there. Oh, here's the cukes. Can't go wrong with the cucumbers. Wow. These look like sweet success. Yep, they are burpless. Yep. Look at that, eh? Yeah, very cool place to be.
Actually, it is if you get to catch it. Oh, I love the dahlias. They're like my favorite flower.
This place is awesome.
It is awesome. If you ever get to go to the Sandwich Fair. Someone has a fireplace going. Smells good. Okay, that's been removed. Oh, what the hell is that? Canadian Prepper. I don't think I'm gonna pull him up. Oh, this is ruthless. I can't believe this guy did this.
I've never seen such a chaotic wedding scene before. The groom unveiled the evidence of his soon-to-be wife's infidelity, which he had been gathering for years, right in front of her father.
Oh my goodness.
Acá tengo, mire, la prueba de embarazo. Ustedes saben que voy a ser papá.
But why would you do it like this? Like, I guess it's revenge, but I mean, at least save the deposit. Yeah, that didn't go well. Oh God, it's starting to rain again. Here comes winter. Winter is coming. Okay, that one's a gross one. I'm not pulling that one up, but you can look at it on my blog. I think this one was short. How long was this one? Oh, that one's
I didn't think I'd be talking about this today.
9 minutes. I'm just going to pull up half of this.
it was a bit of a shock. This was a huge shock that unfortunately, and I wanted to bring this to you guys, that my old interviewee from less than a year ago, Maddie Anholt, has tragically passed away at the age of 35. Maddie, she's one of my favorite ever guests and someone I loved interacting with. She's a comedian, and she had a book called How to Leave Your Psychopath. I think that's what it was called. I'm just going off of, I haven't really made notes for this. I was going to do a whole night of different things tonight, and I think I might push that back. And I just got told by, a nice person on Instagram this morning, and I thought, that can't be right, and I typed it in. She was 35. And just, really bad. I think a lot of people loved her. And she was just, what's really sad is, I don't know the full details. I don't mean to speculate, because I know that can be inappropriate and stupid and whatever. But when I was interviewing her before we went on, she put some glasses on, and she said she's having some trouble with one of her eyes. Her eye was just giving her a bit of whatever. And well, look, she died of a rare, aggressive kind of cancer, I think brain. And I don't know if that was the beginnings of things, because it happened so quickly. And she was just, like I say, just wonderful to talk to. And it's a shock because it brings it home. And I needed to say this to you guys because this is a community. And you forget, like, you do these videos and then people die. And that happened last year with Jesse Morton, which was a shock. He was in his early 40s, and I don't know the cause of death there. Jesse was someone who had been done some awful things in his life and just turned his life around, and that was looking amazing. And Maddie Anholt, well, some people are saying, who is it? Maybe I can show a clip from the video I did with her, just so you get a sense of her talking, how brilliantly she spoke. I do have an affinity with comedians. I like talking to people who are fun and comedians and things. And the sad thing is she got just completely pushed around by the men in her life. That's why she wrote How to Leave Your Psychopath. And it made sense as a topic for this channel because of cults and the cult dynamic, the cult of one. And she knew so much about it. And she'd just been a victim of so many things. And now she's a victim of circumstance. And she just had a child as well. Will this work if I can show a bit of that? Right, there we are. And I'll just play a little bit. So you just get an idea. Here she is. She's got, like I say, she's got those glasses on. She was having some trouble with one of her eyes at the time.
Yeah, you're right. And I think, you can look at it black and white and you can go.
I'll take it off with the double speed.
Okay, so, a genetics psychopath, technically they don't have a conscience, they may display a little bit of empathy, probably not. If you're looking at Dr. Robert Hare's checklist, you can go down that list and you can go, they're glib, they tend to sell you false truths. Whereas, you've got narcissists, there's 8 sort of subcategories within narcissism. I pick out 2, the sort of the overt and the covert. So the overt is what you imagine a narcissist to be, they're like very ballsy, in your face, loves themselves. But I think what's interesting about narcissists is that you think that they've got a massive ego, and technically that's not quite right. Actually, what they do have is they have a fragile, high self-esteem, which means that they are constantly wanting people to validate themselves, and they
just to give you a clip and an idea of Maddie. I'll put that at the end as just a one-off, a tribute to her, because it is something I try to get my head around a lot. I do think a lot about mortality. I mention it quite a lot on this show. I find it hard to sleep sometimes. I'm sure a lot of you know that feeling as well, and you just think about the finality of it all and sometimes the pointlessness of it all. I don't mean to sort of depress everyone. There's so much to live for. I love life. Life is amazing, and that's why it's so sad She has died at 35, her family has announced. They said, "It is with profound sorrow that we announce the death of Maddie Anholt, our beloved daughter, sister, twin, friend, wife, and mother, who left this world on Wednesday, the 13th of September, aged 35. You may know that shortly after the birth of her incredible daughter, Opal, last year, Maddie was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of brain cancer. She handled the ensuing surgery and treatment with astonishing grace and courage, accompanied every step of the way by her family and devoted husband, Ben. She spent her final weeks at her parents' home, bathed in love and calm and with sounds of nature all around. Anholt's acting appearances included in the TV comedies Sunny D and the Emily Atack Show. Her BBC Radio 4 comedy series No Smoke was co-written with Hardeep Singh Kohli and featured two people trying to save a failing vape cafe in Dundee. Last year, she released How to Leave Your Psychopath, the essential handbook for escaping toxic relationships, a self-help book about abusive relationships published by Pan Macmillan. After its release, she was invited to become an ambassador for Women's Aid. She led masterclasses on topics such as public speaking for clients, including The Guardian. Her family said, "We are overwhelmed with gratitude to the many friends who have upheld us with their love and prayers during this difficult time, as well as the countless nurses, doctors, and NHS as a whole who treated her with unfailing dignity and compassion. In particular, we would like to thank the magnificent team at Seton Hospice at Home, who are the embodiment of empathy, professionalism, and love." Anholt's family statement came via a GoFundMe page set up to help raise money for her daughter. I'm going to get the link for that and put that in the description. They are asking members of the public to light a candle in Anholt's memory at 6 p.m. on Saturday. So, look, you're all welcome to do that. And it's just tragic news. And I'm pleased I've got you guys for these kinds of things. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about everyone together. It's about a community. And just very sad, like I say, this happened with Jesse Morton, who potentially took his own life, struggling with demons after some of the bad things he had done. And as far as I know, look, you end up interviewing 300, 400 people. It's the same for you guys. You end up watching interviews.
Yeah.
Not just on my channel, so thousands and thousands of interviews over the years, and you feel like you know these people,
and then
you see
all
them
of a sudden,
TV, and you end up mourning together, and it's
like
quite
Krishna.
a nice thing.
You know, look, as soon as that happened, it was like, damn.
Just before the channel started to really get some momentum. So many of you won't have seen it. I would say, hey, go back, watch it. And think about life and things. And she's got, she had some fantastic things to say about those kinds of relationships. So it is an amazing thing to be able to leave something like that behind, something that's helped so many people and will continue to help people. Absolutely. So, I mean, that's another point as well is, get hold of How to Leave Your Psychopath, because it's a really, really good one. Good book. That's all for I'll see you next time. Get hold of her book. I'll get that GoFundMe thing below. And that's it. It's a sad thing. Thank you guys for joining. And if you knew of her or you're getting into her stuff and her comedy and stuff like that, let me know your opinions. I'll have a look through it and think about that.
Wow. Oh boy. Yeah, here's another one from him.
Alice accuses Brand of being controlling. She says that he once ran a bath for her and demanded that she stay in it while he went out for about an hour. Another time, Alice alleges that Brand removed his condom during sex without her knowing. When he invited her over on his 31st birthday, Alice's mother
but
emphasize to him that
this is so much cringe. I'm sorry. Cringe warning, trigger warning. This is
Alice
gross.
says that he blocked the door and
but everyone's talking about it, so let's.
She says that afterwards, her mother was very, very upset at Brand's behavior and pleaded with Alice to come home with her, but Alice chose to stay. Towards the end of the relationship, Alice says that Brand sexually or SA'd her. She says, I was sat up in the bed against the headboard and he forced his thing down me and I couldn't breathe. It was choking me and I couldn't breathe and I was pushing him away and he wasn't backing off at all. She says, I ended up having to punch him really hard in the stomach to get him off.
Wow. Okay. There's just so many levels of wrong in whatever's going on with that. I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know. But, you know, it's hard not to sort of look at it. Yeah, I got to Dremel these, or I keep looking at them because I did one and it's beautiful. But I want to do more. It's just so hard to decide how to make them, because they would be perfect little pendants, and I could get I do have cord, and I could make like little clasps, and I could do all that. I might do all that. I should do all that. That was the plan for all that. Bad jokes. Okay, yeah.
This video went viral. You guys can watch it. I don't know what to say about it. It just got millions and millions of views. Here you go. You're like, aw, like that's so cool. Like you won his football game. His girlfriend is wearing the colors. She's like hugging him. That's so cute. Guys, that's his mom. This is a kid being straddled by his mom, which I think is a little strange. And she had this video taken. She posted it to her Instagram. The mom did. Now, there's this like a subtopic right now on the internet of boy moms, like moms who have boys of this sort of energy. There are certainly some mothers trying to like build a boyfriend when it comes to their son, the man that they wish that they had kind of energy. And that's what this video gives me. I can't. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Get up, get up. It makes me so uncomfortable.
Hey, I'm not opposed to dating a younger guy, but at the same time, it better not be my son. Just saying. Because when I first saw that, I was like, what's she bitching about? Because it looks so cute and innocent. And then it's like, yeah, it's a little weird with his mom. What's the song like? Oh dear. And I feel bad for these kids and everyone, but oh god, this one's insane. Here's your feature,
company in
kids.
Poland has appointed an artificial intelligence robot as experimental chief executive.
Hello, I'm Mika.
The technology is still very much on probation.
It's great to connect with you.
The robot CEO is leading the company's growth into one-off collectibles, communication, or even strategy planning. For Dictador, the AI boss is the real deal. Before her promotion, Dictador initially had Mika identifying potential clients, but now her duties have widened to tasks
can't be a good
including
idea.
artists to design custom bottles. Mika says she brings something to the job no human can.
My decision-making process relies on extensive analysis
Yeah.
and aligning with the company's strategic objectives. It's devoid of personal bias, ensuring unbiased and strategic choices that prioritize the organization's best interests.
But is Mika real or just a gimmick?
Oh, she's definitely, in fact, real. You know, data-driven, whatever she's bringing as a big feature. And
Goodbye, humanity.
Well,
it was
As
fun.
a robot CEO, I don't really have
No, it
feedback.
was. We really did
I'm
have a
always
good
on,
run.
24/7, ready to make executive decisions and stir up some AI magic. I'm here to help Dictador take over the world.
Human chief executives need not worry about being replaced.
There's no concern artificial intelligence could hire or fire
At
someone.
least for a little bit.
Human executive.
No, it's coming. It's coming, babe. Oh God, no. Sorry, friend sent me a text. Naughty. No, I know. I wouldn't trust that mouth either. No, that's just so creepy. Like sometimes I find these clips and I try and like sometimes they're long and I forget how long they are. And other ones are just little short ones like that, and it's like, what the hell did I just watch? Like, darn. Okay, I really saw that. I hope, like, sometimes I want to replace these ones because it's like, did I really see this? And I kind of want to almost pull up this one. Shockingly accurate cartoon predictions. Except that one might get me a strike if it's too long. So, and this one is pretty creepy as well, but this one's like around 20 minutes, and I had so many clips today. Like, I'm not even halfway through. And that one's so adorable. It is like little stuffed dragons. How long is this one? 8. Oh god,
Negative
that one's
monetization course.
That one's good. I'm sorry, dude. He is such a good channel, but I might pull him up at the end. There's another one. I think that one's, is that one? Yeah. So the lady who was on before, who was talking about Eric, this is the Eric she was talking about.
Stephen of the House of Jarrett.
Because not this guy, but the channel creator, he's getting so much trouble for everything.
The reason being, legislation will not bring back the dead nor the harm. There are hundreds of people that are not allowed onto their property except strangers to the EPA are sifting through their sacred property and sacred ground, and they are not being investigated. This same material is then removed from the site and supposedly being sent to the mainland. That should be of high concern to you, because if this chamber, who addressed this same issue in 2018, is allowing people from out of our country, the nation of Hawaii or the state of Hawaii, to abscond this information, because I guarantee you, none of you know exactly what's responsible for this fire. None of you do. And because of that, it's a crime scene. And if it's a crime scene and they're removing the product or spraying product on it, the EPA spraying product on it, and then they're removing product from it, you don't know if it's an accelerant from chemtrails, whatever those things are, or if it was malfeasance by the electrical department, Hawaii Electric, Maui Electric, same company, or if it's malfeasance by maladministration, because I, as a builder, I'm licensed in electrical, plumbing, general contracting. I'm licensed to remove asbestos, toxic metals, and lead. And I can guarantee you, I have seen pictures of these people doing their thing, and they are not in hazmat suits that qualify for them to remove lead from a house, let alone toxic waste. Yet they are. You don't know what is going on. And they're basically, because of that, it's a crime scene, and they are manipulating, taking material from it. Under Title 18 USC 4, malfeasance and a form of fraud. You now know that this has gone on, and because of that, you must do an estoppel immediately so you can have a true investigation from outside sources that are not from someone that, whether it's a directed energy weapon or chemicals coming down or the electrical department not having the correct size pools up, or the administration not demanding that it's done right, or this group not demanding it's done right. You have a responsibility. Not just to me. I come in the name of Yeshua. You have a responsibility before God. You're going to all account before a living God. And trust me, you see the scar on my face? I died at the age of 15 months. I drowned at the age of 3. I've had other things that have happened. I know the other side exists. So please, for the children's sake that did not get to speak because they were incinerated, investigate this whole thing. Have an estoppel, go in immediately, take information out so you can find out exactly who, what, and how it actually happened so it doesn't happen again.
Thank you.
I think the largest thing is people just want answers. They just want answers with all of this, you know? They just want to know what happened. Okay, that's Jordan Peterson. That's obviously going to be a long one. This one was kind of good, but it's also a long one. Oh, God, yeah. Here you go, hon.
Excuse me.
What do you want? I got a husband, so what do you want?
Okay. You also have a flat tire.
Oh, can you
No,
Yeah, you suck it. You suck it, bitch. No, you blew that one, honey.
I think it's absolutely wild that today, of all days, on September 18th, the International Day of Action, the Minister of Indigenous Relations decided that it was a good idea to have a meeting with my family and I on today, of all days. And he thought it was a good idea to
This is so
us
disturbing.
by saying,
This is
well,
so
I still have more
disturbing.
questions about the feasibility study. Why? Why are all levels of government beating around the bush and pointing fingers back and forth amongst each other because they can't figure out how to search the landfill amongst themselves? We've figured it out. We've done the feasibility study. We have proven, more than proven, not only our work, but proven that my mother is more than worth searching for and that it is absolutely feasible.
Sorry, it wasn't in relation to that because that court case, I'm actually going to pull into a larger blog soon because, and I've already touched on it a lot on my blog just because, you know, normally if a Canadian citizen goes missing with a suspected murder, the cops sort of look for them, but it's just not happening in Winnipeg and Manitoba. So in a landfill, and they're like, oh, it's just too toxic. And it's like, families need answers. You can't just leave it like that. Like, it's ridiculous what's going on.
You are both here criticizing Mr. Polyev for having a subpar plan, but you're playing catch up with him. So I don't understand how you can criticize him when he's been talking about affordability, talking about housing, urging the government to do more on housing,
with all due
and
respect,
then you announced the plan on the same day he announced
We've
it.
actually been talking about housing affordability since we came into office.
Yeah, but they did nothing about it. What did the Liberals do about housing?
Why should voters still stick with you over this? Why should voters still stick with you over this?
I don't think there was a really straightforward answer with that one. Sorry, I'm trying to make grilled cheese. I'm really excited about the grilled cheese, so. Oh, God, I almost fucked up the bread. There we go. Okay. Sorry, it's just sometimes I do not time the clips with my cooking skills. I will get there eventually. I love grilled cheese. I'm so silly that way. No, just a friend's texting me. It's fun. And some of these animations just turned out so beautiful. Like they look so real. Like that looks like almost a real fire dragon. Oh dear. This one, I'm going to pull this one up because
In Canada, it seems there's a new game in town. The Canadian prison system's
I didn't know
peculiar
about
take
this
on
one.
playtime. Although drugs are
I
still
didn't
a
know
no-no
about
behind
this one.
bars, our dear Prime Minister Justin Trudeau
And this one's
has ushered
bad.
in a strange era where inmates are not only sneaking in narcotics, but also getting official help to consume them. Yes, you heard it right. Welcome to Canada, where we've turned our correctional facilities into a dystopian drug haven.
Wow.
Hi and welcome. I'm your host, Vedika. Let's begin. Kingston's Collins Bay Institution is about to make history by opening what they call an overdose prevention service. It's essentially a place where inmates can enjoy their smuggled narcotics under the watchful eye of medical staff. The rationale, mental health and problematic substance use are first and foremost a health issue, says the Correctional Service of Canada. It seems they've swapped the rulebook for a prescription pad. This isn't the first time the Federal Prison Agency has embraced this curious approach. This trend began in June 2019 at Alberta's Drumheller Institution, where 52 inmates took advantage of this unique service, racking up 1,566 visits in total. Nova Scotia's Spring Hill Institution joined the party earlier this year. They offer needles, syringes, and more, ensuring inmates have all the essentials for a safe and sanitary high. While Canadian prisons have been on a losing streak against the black market that smuggles drugs, cell phones, and even weapons, this new OPS move feels like the last straw. In 2022, there were 99 drone drops recorded at Collins Bay alone. Drones, the latest delivery service for inmates with a penchant for contraband, were used to ferry goodies over prison walls. Inside, it's a booming business. The demand for drugs is so high that even prison guards are getting in on the action, marking up prices and making millions. Meth, fentanyl, and ceramic knives have all made their way behind bars. One former inmate revealed the demand for drugs and other contraband, mainly drugs, is off the charts. Take fentanyl, everyone wants it. In June, the same month that Spring Hill Institution opened its safe consumption site, prison guards seized a package containing an estimated $50,000 worth of crystal meth. Even banned tobacco is a hot commodity. A single drone drop of tobacco intercepted at Collins Bay in 2021 was estimated to have a black market value of $20,000. And you thought cigarette prices were high outside of prison. All this smuggling comes at a price, and it's a steep one. Over the last decade, roughly 46 suspected overdose deaths have occurred within prison walls. It's now the second leading cause of a non-natural death in prison, losing out only to suicide. Canada's official correctional investigator, Evan Zinger, has been a vocal advocate for facilities offering clean paraphernalia and medical supervision to inmates indulging in smuggled drugs. He's called it a human rights issue, and in his 2022 annual report, Zinger criticized Canada's prisons for their heavy-handed approach to drug suppression. He urged them to abandon their so-called war on drugs. In a country known for its politeness and love of beavers, it seems they've ventured into a rather perplexing realm. Their inmates are getting high, their prisons are playing host to a thriving black market, and all the while, we are left shaking our heads, wondering if common sense has taken a permanent vacation. Trudeau's Canada, where even behind bars, we are not sure who's in control.
Wow, I thought the States was bad, didn't you? Those did not taste like baby dills. They almost tasted like sweet, like the bread and butter ones, but I can't. I'm sorry, I'm like making a sandwich I'm making my own sandwich. I'd make some of my friends a sandwich if they really asked. But a lot of them they would be like, let's just.
Food fight in Ottawa. Hi, I'm
Speaking
Brian
of
Louie,
food.
columnist at the Toronto Sun. We have heard about food inflation for a long time now. For a while, the government said there wasn't much they could do about it, out of their control. Now, though, they are taking notice. Could be political, could be trying to find the right policies. Either way, they summoned the CEOs of Canada's major grocery chains to Ottawa for a meeting, demanding action, demanding to know how they would stabilize prices. In that meeting was the food professor, Sylvain Charlebois. You're familiar with him and his writings in the Toronto Sun, his appearance on Full Comment podcast and elsewhere. Professor Charlebois, you went to Ottawa. What did you see? What did you find out?
Well, I'm still in Ottawa. Actually, we just finished the meeting. I think it was an interesting meeting. Of course, at the very beginning, I think people were on edge, not knowing much about what was going to happen. But I think what was clarified is that it wasn't really about accusing or finger pointing. I mean, basically, I was asked by the minister to brief the group about what we're seeing with the data, and we just don't see any evidence of profiteering. That being said, the real problem is consumer trust. 82% of Canadians actually do believe that there's profiteering
It's all
going
these
on.
taxes.
And so the conversation was very much
Figure
focused
it out.
on
It
that.
ain't hard math.
So, yeah, you and I have talked about that. People just think that the grocers are gouging. They don't believe when you point out that the profit margin for a grocery store chain is on food and beverage, not selling lipstick or clothing or any of the other things they sell. On food and beverages, it's about 3.5%. That's not gouging by any measure, but people simply don't trust them. So that was the focus of the conversation. Who was in the room? Was the Prime Minister there, or was it led by Frankie Bubbles, aka the Industry Minister Francois Philippe Champagne? Who were the CEOs? Who was around the table?
So the big five, they were all there. So Costco, Walmart, Loblaws, Sobeys, and Metro. Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland opened up the meeting with opening remarks, but the meeting was chaired by Minister Champagne himself. He's responsible for the Competition Bureau, and to be honest with you, I think by seeing a minister that is not from ag leading the charge or looking at this issue, food prices, competitiveness in the food space is quite refreshing. So I think that CEOs weren't necessarily accustomed to that. I certainly wasn't, and so I thought that the approach was quite unique.
Oh yeah, I know you're limited.
You ever make something and you're just like,
yum
yum.
Champagne is,
I know this is probably really boring for a lot of people, but I think it's important information.
And Bell and Telus on the Toronto subway issue, and he keeps saying, "Oh, don't test me." But here's the thing about Minister Champagne, in my experience, he's willing to listen and he's willing to look for where you can find common ground, where you can find a deal. Is there something that can be done? Were they looking at things that the companies could do or things that governments could do to either stabilize or lower prices? What was the conversation about?
I do believe that the conversation was quite constructive, and the tone was constructive as well. To be honest, I actually think the meeting went as good as it could, given the context, given the politics. Because let's face it, Brian, it's all about politics. Of course, I was charged with the task of setting an economic tone to the conversation. By the end of the day, this is about solving a political issue, which is helping Canadians while looking at a government that is going down in the hole.
I'm okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, they food inflation was
Almost,
going up
but not
before
really.
the last election. It was
Almost.
starting to go up. It
Oh God, it
skyrocketed
smells so good.
after the election, and for 2 years they said, "Oh, not an issue. Ukraine, external factors." Now the polls are down, and they're saying, "Oh, we should do something about this." So I mean, there's the politics entering into it, but
We need a new pandemic.
Concrete measures
No,
that either
bad jokes,
side
bad
could take,
jokes.
To help with
We don't
this.
need one. They're
I mean,
already
the
planning
carbon
one.
tax. People keep raising the issue of the carbon tax. It's, you know, we as consumers, as taxpayers, may get rebates, but for the farmer, the wholesaler, the trucker, the distributor, the retailer, they don't, and they've got to pass those price increases along.
Yeah. Yes, there will be concrete measures. I can't tell you which one, but I mean, the plan that's going to come out of this meeting or several meetings, there's not going to be only one meeting, by the way. There's going to be several meetings. My guess is that Mr. Sampin will actually have individual meetings with grocers and with manufacturers and farmer groups and things like that to get a better sense of what's possible and what's not possible. But at the end of the day, I think the intent is to provide Canadians with concrete steps to control, to stabilize food inflation, not food prices, food inflation.
So you mentioned off the top that 82% of Canadians believe there's profiteering. They don't trust them. How do the grocers get that back? Is there a way to get it back? Or is it just that, well, people are so upset with grocery stores that
people should be upset with Trudeau.
It's not an easy problem to solve.
People should be upset with the government, not upset with the grocers.
Here. Prices are still high, and frankly, I think Canadians aren't necessarily.
This was happening
for prices, and I've been telling you and many other reporters, high prices are here to stay, and so. As we try to cope with this new food pricing reality,
here's the thing too, because imagine all this food waste.
In fact, we actually are
because people aren't buying this food, so it goes past expiry, so they toss it out.
Is dropping. Tomorrow we'll hear.
It's almost like it's cheaper to go dumpster diving.
Will tell us that the gap between food inflation and inflation will has narrowed. That's our expectation. That's what I told you. So we're expecting things to be a little more manageable for Canadians moving forward.
Yeah, because even as overall inflation, food inflation has been stubborn, 9%.
But it's been caused by Trudeau.
Depending on the individual items,
caused by Trudeau.
We talked before about the issue of price fixing. Is that something the government's going to tackle? You've said that is one of the major issues, and you're worried that it goes well beyond bread, which we discussed a while ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I did raise the issue. I think it's a problem. Blackout periods, price fixing in bread, price fixing potentially in other things. That's a problem. I did raise the issue in front of the Big Five, essentially because I think it is cultural. Price fixing has been somewhat normalized in Canada, and that's bothering Canadians. And so that's why I thought it was really appropriate to raise the point. Now, is there a quick fix? Not necessarily. Today, actually, Jagmeet Singh will table a bill to reform the Competition Act. I think it's a good idea. I think it's needed, and because Canadians don't feel protected. Then
he's putting these out because of all this issues with India.
Professor, thanks so much.
If he had
let us know what you think.
How many years to do policies like this? Now he's putting them out. Oh, why? Because all this controversy with India, we might get nuked. I don't know. They have nukes. We don't. Go figure that one. Oh, God, yeah. How long's this one? 13. Yeah, I'm going to put this one on.
What is the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, and who are the people that
once again, let's just pull this up so everyone
the federal government
understands
open source intelligence coordinated and sourced
what's
by
going
this
on.
Canadian Anti-Hate Network to justify suspending the rights of 40 million Canadians, to decide that protesting the government was going to be illegal and that donating to a political cause was grounds to have your bank account frozen. Thousands of documents obtained by journalist Karima Saad through a Freedom of Information request relating to Jeremy Mackenzie, a Canadian podcaster, and what can only really be described as his fan club, Diagolon, seriously call into question the intelligence that the federal government was relying upon in those mid-February days of 2022 when they were deciding whether or not to invoke the Emergencies Act, the single largest suspension of rights ever seen in Canada since Pierre Trudeau invoked the War Measures Act in 1970. They're calling it Hategate, and the journalist who wrote this story believed that the federal government's reliance on this Canadian anti-hate network open source intelligence and legacy media's reporting of that intelligence amounts to an embarrassing intelligence failure. And whatever you think of the people involved in the story or the journalist who wrote the story, this is undeniably a story worth telling, not least because the legacy media has refused to touch it, and you'll soon see why. Drop a like in the video, help us out with subscribing to the True North YouTube channel, and the comment question for the episode is this: is Hategate the single worst intelligence failure in Canadian history? Let me know in the comments, and let's get into it. If you've followed Canadian politics for the last 2.5 years, you know about a group called Diagolon. That's because legacy media journalists, the ones that Justin Trudeau likes to shovel cash to, have routinely wrote about Diagolon, citing experts from Canadian anti-hate network sources who claim Diagolon are an ideologically motivated violent extremist organization. A dangerous group. Sometimes they even like to use the word accelerationist to describe a Diagolon. But what even is Diagolon anyways? Even calling it a group, based on what we know now from Karima.
Yay, you have a rocket launch! That's awesome! I got grilled cheese, but you got a rocket launch. That's awesome! Congratulations! Good to see you, sir. Hope you're doing well.
A fictitious meme country formed of Western Canadian provinces and southern states in the USA. The vice president, alongside Jeremy Mackenzie of Diagolon, is a goat figurine with a coke addiction.
A fake plastic goat is triggering the Canadian government so much. Oh, go fuck yourself, Steve. Sorry, I mean, that's how I say hi to you.
When a Diagolon patch was found on a bulletproof vest as part of a large seizure of weapons at the Coots border blockade, Global News, citing the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, wrote this report in which anti-hate network experts label Diagolon as a neo-Nazi group.
Oh yeah, I know. No, I know. It's like stupid. Wow, that'd be so cool to see.
But thanks to actual Hategate reporting, this is how actual Canadian intelligence officials
that would be awesome
in their internal communications.
Okay, you know what? I'm not even playing with you tonight, Steve.
Diagolon does not pose a criminal or national security threat. In a July 2021 email exchange on Diagolon, Canadian officials write this: there are non-accelerationists, there's no incitement of violence, and no criminality amongst the group. In March 2022, a Canadian national security official is quoted as saying this:
Diagolon that would have been cool to see.
Dictionary definitions of a group. The following month, another national security official writes this: we do not consider it a right-wing militia group at this time. The following month after that, in May, another official writes this: Diagolon as a distinct entity does not pose a criminal or national security threat at this time.
Yeah, no, it's a fucking plastic goat. Like, are people that dumb?
Is found in the RCMP's Diagolon profile in 2022. They write this: the Canadian Anti-Hate Network is cited as the main authority on the group by all mainstream media outlets due to the fact that all information traces back to one source. Triangulation and the verification of facts is almost impossible at the current time. Based on the information that is publicly available, it is difficult to understand how Canadian Anti-Hate Network can confidently assert that Diagolon is an accelerationist movement that believes a revolution is inevitable and necessary to collapse the current government system. So as far back as 2021, Canadian government officials have been quoted as saying that Diagolon is not inciting violence, not accelerationist, and not criminal.
It's
but the
a
intelligence
freaking
breakdown over
plastic
Diagolon,
goat.
as uncovered in Hategate, goes much deeper. This all brings us to the February 16 infamous Marco Mendicino press conference, where he says that the men arrested in Coots have, quote, strong ties to a far-right group whose leaders are in Ottawa. When pressed by journalists to explain further about this far-right group with leadership in Ottawa during the Freedom Convoy, Mendicino had no answers at all, but instead directed all media requests to the RCMP.
We need to be clear-eyed about the seriousness of these incidents. Indeed, several of the individuals at Coots have strong ties to a far-right extreme organization with leaders who are in Ottawa. We're
Do you
talking
mean
about
a plastic goat?
that is organized,
A plastic
agile,
goat.
knowledgeable,
A plastic
and
toy
driven by an
goat.
extremist ideology.
Oh my God, should I pull out
where
one?
might
Oh my God.
makes right.
Oh no, am I
This is
a far-right
completely
extremist? Because I
to
have
our
like
democratic values.
Fluffy.
Uncovered in Hategate is a string of emails from government officials
And that is
trying
called
to figure out
Fluffy.
how to respond to this request, given that, of course, the federal
What else
government
do you call
had
it,
no
dinosaur?
information about a far-right group whose leadership was in Ottawa. Eventually, one government official decides that a global news article about the Coots blockade and Diagolon, the same one that I sourced at the beginning of the show, quoting Diagolon as a neo-Nazi group and a neo-fascist militia, would be enough to provide government officials with the information required to assist other media requests. That global news article conveniently sources one expert. That expert is from the Canadian Anti-Hate Network. 2 days before all of that, the federal government invoked the Emergencies Act of the Freedom Convoy. And before Justin Trudeau invoked the Emergencies Act that afternoon, Trudeau's national security advisor demanded a briefing on ideologically motivated violent extremist groups involved in the protest. An RCMP official is tasked with compiling a full intelligence briefing within 15 minutes to provide to Trudeau's national security advisor.
In 15 minutes, that sounds like really like.
Minutes. As the journalists who wrote the Hategate report accurately, in my opinion, state, the pressure to expedite such a significant assessment, one intended to inform senior government decision-making, is counterproductive. It virtually guarantees there is no time to review updates or fact-check new information.
Amen.
In order to produce this intelligence briefing, the RCMP were forced to rely on the same old erroneous content sourced through the broken telephone chain of broadcast media, from a single apparatus pumping out inaccurate and alarmist statements to maintain a foothold in the highly lucrative competitive market of hate expertise. And at this point during the Freedom Convoy, despite the RCMP and the government not having the actual intelligence to back up these statements, federal politicians and the media, using anti-hate network sources, have run with the line that this group is a dangerous, violent, extremist organization running the Freedom Convoy. Canada's now Attorney General,
a plastic toy goat is running it all.
Said in the House of Commons that Diagolon was a far-right group actively involved with arming themselves and carrying ammunition and body armor to blockade the border.
When far-right elements, including a group called Diagolon, is actively involved with arming themselves, carrying ammunition and body armor to blockade the border at Coots, and that results in 4 arrests for conspiracy to commit murder. Investigations are ongoing as to whether that group has links to groups raising swastikas and Confederate flags here in Ottawa, and the blockade in Ottawa continues. I think we do have an ongoing threat that needs to be resolved.
Liberal MP
all of this is like absolute just propaganda.
Diagolon as a political and ideological extremist group willing to use lethal force to carry out their agenda.
These individuals who are part of
it's a plastic goat.
Diagolon.
It's a plastic goat. Literally, my government is spending all this time on a plastic goat.
During the Freedom Convoy,
I feel so damn proud.
Chairman Bernie Farber said that he had found an anti-Semitic flyer in Ottawa.
And that one wasn't even.
In reality, that flyer was nowhere near Ottawa, and it was from a protest in Florida.
Exactly.
Bernie Farber had carelessly attributed it to being in Ottawa. Of course, Legacy Media also ran with that story. On Anti-Hate Network's advisory board sits a woman named Barbara Perry. Barbara Perry is a professor at the Ontario Tech University's Center on Hate, Bias, and Extremism. This Ontario Tech University Bias, Hate, and Extremism Center produced a list of 300 active far-right organizations in Canada. This list of 300 far-right organizations has been cited by the Liberal government to justify
Love you,
new
sir.
anti-hate
You stay
legislation.
safe.
Despite attempts from True North to get access to the
Okay.
list of 300
I'll see you play
organizations
soon.
used by the government, the Ontario Tech
Sorry, I got
University
sandwiches.
is
I'm
hiding
excited.
behind
I'm
exemptions
so silly.
to the Freedom of Information request to not provide us with the information. And one of the founding board members of the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, Amira El-Gawabi, was recently appointed by Justin Trudeau to be Canada's first special representative on combating Islamophobia. Oh, and if that wasn't enough, last year, in June, the Canadian government teamed up with the Anti-Hate Network to release what it calls an anti-hate toolkit for schools. The government has labeled this toolkit Confronting and Preventing Hate in Canadian Schools. And this project is being funded by the Government of Canada's Anti-Racism Action Program. And up until March of 2022, the Canadian Anti-Hate Network was being paid with our tax money as part of
Oh,
what the
yeah, they
government
were.
calls an
Good money,
Anti-Racism
too.
Action Program. They were receiving grants to write hit pieces on people the government deems to be political opposition. To
Mhm.
say that the Canadian Anti-Hate Network doesn't have tremendous influence over the federal government would be ridiculous. Not only does this organization receive funding and grants with our tax money to achieve anti-hate and anti-racism outcomes, which are of course ideological and political in nature, but even officials within the Anti-Hate Network end up working for the government and being given big government positions.
Oh,
like
yes, they
Amira
do.
El-Gawabi. At the
Mhm.
heart of HateGate is a question as to whether or not the intelligence apparatus in this country has been ideologically captured.
How do
or
I be
if
more
this
hateful
incredibly
so I can
incompetent-
qualify
are
for
Canadian
their
intelligence
grants?
officers just lazy and incompetent, or
Isn't
are they
that
driven
how
by
it works?
ideological motivation? The Anti-Hate Network, which is funded with our money, is an activist organization, a blog which labels any conservative organization that opposes the Prime Minister and the stated aims of the federal government as far-right and dangerous. Nobody should be taking the Anti-Hate Network seriously. And the fact that the federal government may have relied on Anti-Hate Network open source intelligence to justify invoking the Emergencies Act is simply outrageous. A serious country has a serious intelligence apparatus, an intelligence apparatus that doesn't rely on legacy media reporting and open source intelligence from an anti-hate network, but actual due diligence, real hard work. But let's be honest, it's been quite a long time since anyone has accused Canada of being a serious country. So is anyone really that surprised? All right, everyone, that's going to do it for us today on the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Try to let me know your answer to the comment question. Is HateGate the single worst intelligence failure in Canadian history? My name is Harrison Faulkner, and this is Ratio.
Oh, that was amazing. That was Angel Studios. I did that one last night. Yeah, that's kind of creepy. What else do I have? I'm almost through it. Oh, that one was an interesting clip. He's a good tarot reader. I was actually impressed. Oh, let's pull this one up. I'll scroll back to the longer ones.
Democratically controlled group for our most vulnerable communities. Because what we're not going to do is go from oil barons to solar barons. This belongs to the people.
But can you attest to the validity or the veracity of the situation you had a few months ago with the trip where you had a staffer that parked in a charging spot to hold a position for you so that you and your entourage could recharge your vehicles? Was that situation true?
Yeah, I've seen the reports.
Well, you were there. I mean, regardless of the report.
I wasn't saving the spot, but let me just say I have a fantastic young staff. Just fantastic.
Well, that's neither here nor there.
I just want to say
but
somebody
is it
made
true
a mistake.
that you had a staffer in a gas-powered, one of your representatives parked in an electric charging spot to reserve the position for you so that you could do it and not be deterred from your travels? Is that
it
accurate?
was poor judgment on
But it's
the
true,
part
correct?
of the team.
Well, why do you think, poor judgment, but why do you think they did that?
I can only imagine they wanted to continue moving. But the bottom line is it's not going to happen again.
I wish I had a staffer who could have parked a car in a spot and blocked a station for me.
Democratically controlled rule.
This one's really cool. She does one of no, she does one of Rolling in the Deep. I love that song, and we just nail it. It's so amazing to see. Stop making me laugh on video. This is amazing. I would love to try an instrument like this. I know. Okay, I'm gonna just stop that one. There were some longer clips, but it's getting late. I'm gonna probably close it down soon, or at least just take a break and then open up panels, see if people want to come on. I'm gonna give people. I'm gonna post it, but you're not gonna be able to get on to panel for like 15 minutes. And there is a price to admission. There is a price to admission because I'm gonna do some karaoke because she does an amazing one of Adele. And I'm hoping, even though I like caught bread in my mouth after that sandwich, I will do it because she's like so awesome. It was like, it really is amazing. how well she can play. And I'd love an instrument like that, like just because it seems to satisfy everything with my OCD, because it's like halfway a guitar, but it's long ways like a piano, and it's sort of like a drum, and it's really compact. I like really compact, you know. It's almost like my bass, but not quite. Like there are bass, it's like it's an amazing instrument. And this one, hopefully I don't get a strike for this, because usually if I pull them up on my blog, I don't get a strike. But I might get a strike with this one, but it's going to be worth it because I love this song. Oh. Okay, I gotta restart it. I gotta restart it. Sorry. No, you stop. No, pause. Pause. You be a good computer. No, I know this song. No. I just need the lyrics. And to actually I know I'm probably going to get such a strike for this one, but I'm going to try it because I love it. I know I got this. Yeah. Okay. Where's my lyrics? Where's my lyrics? God damn it. There we go. Sorry, I'm so disorganized. I didn't plan this, but I didn't think I'd go through everything so quick, or I thought people would want to jump on, but that's okay. Not exactly complaining about a whole lot of people jumping on panels sometimes. It's nice sometimes, and I might even shut this one off after this song. I was just doing so good on that animation today, and I got almost 30 seconds. So if I spend another like 3 hours, I can get another few, or we'll see. It takes so much time, but I'm gonna do this. If people want to come on and talk to me, you're more than welcome. I don't bite unless you ask nice. Okay, dokie. Am I on the right one? Oh yeah, here I am. No, let's do it Smallville. Smallville. Silly me. Okay. I haven't done karaoke on one of my streams for a long time. Or I have, but not really. This one's... And then it's too late to sing anymore. There's a fire starting in my heart, reaching fever pitches, bring me out the dark. Finally I can see you clear. Go ahead and sell me out, I'll lay your shit there. See how I know I'm gonna have to No, I'm gonna have to do it through my blog. No, I'm gonna have to do it through my blog. It's gonna fuck up too much. I might be able to do a different one. I almost want to do it just because I'm like, just pent up. I know I've done it before, so I don't want to torture you guys. Yeah, well, like I said, panel's open. And I'm sure there's a few people out there who might have a few words to say about me. And if they do, I don't care. But let's talk about it. I'd rather us talk about it. Didn't seem to work out well talking about it before, but let's talk about it. We could try. We could try. Yeah, I think maybe I will just... What was that? Yeah, I don't think I can... That's the thing. Unless if I put them on my blog, I can usually get away with them, but otherwise I can't. Did I play this one?
So in just 12 days, we have a massive crisis on our hands. But honestly, there's not much we, the American people, can do about it. All
I
we
don't
can do
know.
is
Did
just
I
sit
play
back and
this
watch.
one?
That is
If
part
I
of the
did,
problem.
you're going to hear
I'm
it
gonna address
again.
what this
I
massive
just want a
crisis is
cigarette.
and how it is going to impact every single one of us. Also want to address what the new reports are on this massive issue. But again, there's not much we can do. So sit back, watch this entire video. If you have any questions, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. But again, thank you guys for watching. All I ask is if you can spend just 2 seconds, go ahead and hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. Let's get right down to it. What is this massive crisis? Well, the crisis has to do with the federal budget. And right now, Congress can't come together, can't agree on how to fund the federal government. They just don't know. Democrats want one thing, Republicans want something completely different. But look at this. It says Republicans are bitterly divided on a short-term stopgap bill that would fund the government through October 31st. The measure includes an 8% cut to everything but defense and veterans affairs, along with the bulk of the House GOP's border crackdown bill. So that's from the Republican side. Democrats don't agree with the bill that the Republican side is putting out there. And then you got Senate Republicans that don't agree with what the House Republicans are putting out there, and vice versa. Now, let's continue reading this. It says the plan, crafted by leaders in the Main Street Caucus and House Freedom Caucus, is intended to show House GOP unity and place pressure on the Democratic-controlled Senate and the White House in negotiations for a package that could become law. Also goes on to say, but more than a dozen hardline conservative Republicans swiftly announced they opposed the bill for not going far enough or not addressing other appropriations, including many in the House Freedom Caucus. So it is saying right here that all the bill is intended to do is just show unity and just put a little bit of pressure on the Democratic-controlled Senate. That was it. This is part of the problem. Right now, two things are going to happen. Okay, or one of two things will happen. One, we see the federal budget for 2024. We get this done and we're fine with it. Okay. If that happens, there will likely be spending cuts, and these will be things to the Social Security Administration, probably to national parks, to the IRS, right? Possibly food stamps, the SNAP benefit program, right? A lot of different cuts here.
They've been talking about this.
The other thing is if we don't see that bill, we'll see a short-term stopgap bill. And that's the expectation. Okay, the expectation is that is
It's
what
like
we will
playing
see.
both
And
sides
if that
against
is
the
what
middle.
happens, the problem is
And the
Republicans
middle
have already
just
made it
keeps
very
shrinking
clear they
until
are not
there's
going
nothing.
to vote for a bill that's $1.59 trillion, at least not in the House. So the House of Representatives will never pass a bill that the Senate passes. So that is part of the issue: is how do we figure out a way to continue our funding without coming up with an agreement? Well,
Magic
that's where
wand.
things get very, very interesting. Because
it could be. It's going to get really interesting.
Now, this was actually a couple days ago, but it says the House GOP unveiled a new spending plan. It still won't avert a shutdown. Well, the reason why some are saying that, even though the House, the GOP is putting out different proposals, or even the Senate, the reason why they're saying that, well, this is not going to work, we are still going to have a government shutdown, is simply because they are too far apart. I want to show you this one as well. Look at this. I'm going to read it and I'll explain. It says Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said Monday he cannot think of a worse welcome for Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who will visit Washington this week, than the House stopgap proposal, which does include additional funding for Ukraine. We've talked about this before. President Biden wants to see $23 billion go to Ukraine. Well, the Ukrainian President Zelensky is going to show up in Washington this week, and guess what? As of right now, the stopgap bill that we have proposed, that has no funding for Ukraine. So you think this is a little odd, the timing of this visit? Yeah, it's a little bit strange, because now what we're seeing is, okay, it's more of a political battle. Like, no, the GOP isn't gonna bend to Democrats. They're gonna do whatever they can, and they don't want to pay $23 billion to go to Ukraine. We can use that $23 billion elsewhere. But then the Ukrainian president shows up in Washington, and now you're gonna have cameras, you're gonna have media, and so you think this was planned? Possibly. Because the timing of this is just, so interesting. But here's what I can tell you. Right now, we have, we're going to get this to the floor, okay? We're going to have a vote on this very soon, okay? Now, according to reports yesterday, they're saying that we were going to have a vote on the House GOP bill. This was going to happen on Thursday. However,
after this clip, I'm shutting down. I'm just, I want more grilled cheese. I'm so distracted. It's so yummy.
Plan to the floor Thursday.
It's like
the bill, which
one
was
of those
the
things.
next funding deadline to October 31st, was drafted over the last few days.
And I still have
by
more
a coalition
artwork
of
to work
hardliners in the
on.
House
So
Freedom Caucus and more centrist members of the Main Street Caucus.
thank you for joining me.
Across the board cuts to domestic spending bills, exempting defense and veteran spending, as well as disaster aid. It would also pave the way for Republicans to pass a standalone full-year defense
Like
spending bill,
I don't understand half of what he's saying with his American accent, or necessarily agree, but I don't necessarily disagree.
It says perhaps the biggest sweetener to the GOP's plan is to include the party's marquee border policy bill, known as H.R. 2, without a contentious provision related to making E-Verify mandatory. That's going to be a big one right there. Okay.
Wow, that is actually an interesting
this
one.
vote is going to happen this week. We are going to see movement this week. Well, of course, we have to. Today is September 19th. We have until next Saturday. I believe it's next Saturday. So it is, Saturday,
coming up.
September 30th. Sunday would be the 1st. We could see the government shut down on Sunday. We could really see the government shut down on Sunday, next Sunday. So we only have a week and a half. We got 12 days. I wish I could tell you that.
Happy birthday to me.
Fine, but
happy birthday to me.
What I can tell you is that both parties are trying to figure out a way to keep the government funded, But again, and this is the hard part, is in just over a year, we have a presidential election.
Mm-hmm.
That election, not just for the president, but for the Senate and the House as well, is going to be massive.
Yeah.
Because right now, everybody's trying to fight to get their agenda passed, their agenda through. Well, you know what's holding it up? No, we got a